It's all right. Hey, everybody, GameHounds podcast. We are all here. Full show. Holy crap.
Look at all those cats.
Yeah, I know. Up, you're mute, Mike, mute
Look, you can
again.
have cats or you can have Andrew's voice. You can't have both.
No, they're not happy. I closed the shade.
Wow.
Like we're enjoying the outside. What are you doing?
Had to close the shade because otherwise Andrew would be totally washed out. So yeah, last weekend we're still in the pre-show. We haven't started up the show officially. So things that happened. Okay, so last weekend it was a pretty big storm here in California, but that wasn't why my neighbor needed help. So he was moving from one block up that way with his wife to an apartment that is next door to me because things.
Okay, so
So
it's not that bad of a move.
no, it wasn't that bad of a move at all. And he had contacted, hold on a second. This is Edie.
Oh.
This is Edie. We had contacted, or he had arranged a moving company to come by. And the movers, and he had made it clear, look, I live on a hill. There is no parking. You're going to have to block the road because of the nature of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bring like a big truck, if you bring something smaller that can fit into the driveway, you can not block the road, but it's on a hill. It is very hard to get into my driveway because if you try to back up, you're going to have to back up uphill to get into my house. So the movers show up, and I don't know if one of the movers was high or just an asshole, but they just started screaming their head off about it's on a hill and there's no parking and they had to block the road. And he was like, I made that very clear. I spoke to everyone, and it was a small move. I mean, there's moving a block.
Yeah.
Block and a half.
So they can't just like block the road for 20 minutes.
You know what? This guy was having none of it. I think he probably didn't want to be working on a Sunday. Didn't want to be working on a Sunday for a small job like this. Didn't want to be working in the rain. So they and they tried to get Sean to sign a insurance contract that would add another $500 to it. And it's like, it's going a block and a half. I'm not going to insure it.
Does he know the names of those movers so he can like call the company and complain?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so at least there's that.
So yeah, he was left high and dry without movers and needed to be moved out that day. It had been made clear to him by his wife he needed to be out that day. So it was all kinds of not good situation. So he pulled the, friend lever of people in the neighborhood. Like, I need help and I need help now. We have to move me.
Yeah, and everyone on your contacts list at that point.
Right. And on top of that, I was the one on the contacts list who has the pickup truck.
Oh, okay.
So meanwhile, I'm like, contact Lug. When he had said originally, do you know any good movers? I'm like, lug.com, get some movers through lug.com.
Okay.
And he didn't. He decided to go with a moving company because he didn't want to trust Lug for some strange reason. So, of course, now he contacts Lug. And within 3 hours, 2 professional movers come down and move all the big stuff. And they were wonderful. And I'm like, why didn't you do Lug? I told you to do Lug. And he's like, well, I didn't think they were professionals. I'm like, Lug people
That's
know what the
fast.
fuck they're doing.
Wait, what's the website?
Lug.com, 2 G's, Lugg.
Oh, okay, because I went to Lug 1G and it's French Multimedia Solutions.
No, Lugg. It's essentially like TaskRabbit, but for movers. So if you have like,
Huh.
I need somebody to help me pick up my couch and move it, or I need to do some small job or a big job, they will totally do it. And you just tell them, how big is your job? How many people do you need? How long is it going to take?
Hey, Edie, we're not live on Facebook.
Yeah, that's odd.
We didn't play any movie trailers.
No, I guess I maybe didn't hit play on Facebook. Yeah, now we should be live on Facebook. So that's what I had to do. Is I got the friend lever pulled, the friend with the pickup truck lever pulled. So I ended up moving my friend in the rain, soaked to my skin.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it only took half a day. I think I got done about 4, which is pretty much the time. The time it would have taken to do the show is when I got done.
Yeah.
All right. So let me get to where I need to be. What games have we played?
I finished Resident Evil 8.
Okay.
Nice.
And then I played a game called I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like Mundown. Mundown. Mundaun.
Mundawn, I would call it.
It looks like Dawn, but it's the name of a town. They say the name of the town a lot, and it's like Moondown.
Moondown. Okay. Next.
That's it. No, I played the Matrix Awakens, which is the Matrix-themed Unreal Engine 5 tech demo.
Andrew?
That's it.
I played Super People.
One word or two?
2 people or 2 words. This is gonna be rough.
We've got your back. We'll get you through this.
Back to Tarkov with the new wipe. So that's gonna be a thing again.
Good.
Oh man. Other than that, I've played the Halo beta, or the Halo Infinite multiplayer, not the single player. Although from all I've seen,
is it still a beta now? Technically,
no.
It's all out, right?
Yeah, it's officially launched.
Yeah, I played some of that too. We can talk about that.
And a little bit of Rogue Legacy too.
Neat.
And hey, we got people in the chat room. We got AC Wraith. Thank you for the log. Yes, there it is, log.com. If you are ever like moving, especially if you're in an area that's near a city, like San Francisco-ish, like the Bay Area, log's just the shit. All right, so next, we'll leave that there. Let's get rid of last week's. So I've got Ubisoft and 22 cans embrace.
Oh my god!
And
do you want to just put that? You would just put like NFTs because I have so many NFT stories.
There's like that's most of my stories.
It's the fucking week of NFTs,
and it's kind of all over the board.
Yes, I think there's one positive NFT story.
Yeah.
That depends how you take NFT stories being positive.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a cool one. Final Fantasy 14 sales have been suspended.
Yes. Nick got my story, so.
Okay. I mean, that was just what I have.
All right, so I've got that headline.
I know it's doing the show, but the suspension of Final Fantasy is wild.
Yeah.
Sales.
Yeah.
Like, good on them. Good on them from failing from success.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. Splinter Cell remake is coming. Was announced.
Okay.
Also announced PS5 faceplates.
Okay.
The Activision Blizzard shit show sort of reaches its end game. Not the end, but I feel like it's kind of hit the point of no return as people start to unionize.
Well, that's right.
Try to.
There's obviously a big anti-union push for.
Yeah. But like strike, transition to fund me campaign for the strikes, and transition to people passing out union cards. So like the push has officially begun.
Okay. What else?
You were talking about Game Awards, all the Game Awards winners.
Okay.
Tencent buys Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Tencent will soon own us all because Tencent is a wonderful company to have as an overlord. I mean, as an investor. We love our Tencent.
Yes,
GameHounds
yes,
sponsored by
absolutely.
Tencent.
No, we're not sponsored yet. We're begging for the sponsorship.
Oh, if Tencent wants to buy us, I'm totally
Yeah.
selling. No question.
You want a 10-cent
Absolutely.
mug? I'll put a 10-cent mug here. Fuck the cats.
Fuck the cats.
Give the cats little 10-cent vest.
Exactly. It's a 24-hour webcam filming them in the 10-cent branded clothes.
You know what? They'd probably love that. They would love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
jeez. This is completely random. If they made GameHounds action figures, what accessories would your figures come with?
You would only find me half the time.
I mean, obviously, I feel like the obvious one is a game controller and a cat.
Mine would come with a jewel vape pen and what else would my other thing be? Hey, Blood Reaper. What else would I?
Oh yeah, I'll be a transformer that you can change into a gray block.
Genius.
Nice. That comes from AC Ray. Thank you.
Goalie's
that's
limited
good.
edition sale comes with like just a studio, a podcasting studio.
Ooh, yeah, a full-on set.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
getting into play sets.
Yeah, like the Barbie Dream House, except it's the Barbie Dream podcast. Barbie Dream Studio.
I'm surprised they have not done that yet.
Mm-hmm. What else would I have other than the vape pen?
Dogs.
Yeah.
The dog scooting in the background, which you all missed.
Yes.
That was a moment between Nick and me where Nick says to me, "So, how you been?" And it's that moment that the puppy decides to plant herself right there, right there, and scoots across the screen.
Just drags that ass across.
Yeah, just drags it right across the carpet for a good scratch. Yeah.
A microphone?
Yeah, you know what? This microphone. That's there it is, right there. That's my accessories. All right. So anything else for the DOS news and what?
I would have Bitters Plus says I would have 2 detachable heads with and without cool stubble. This is getting more and more elaborate.
One has, they both have stubble. Just one's you look cool, the other one you don't.
Yeah, the other one's just like drawn on with a Sharpie.
No, how is let's do a stubble check today. We need to check to see how is the stubble doing today. Let's see. How is the stubble?
What would we rate this stubble on 10?
I would give it
This is like I haven't shaved for a
I
week.
give it a 2 out of 10, maybe 3 out of 10.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah, no, you need to let it grow a little bit before it gets the, like 7 or 8. Like that one time you really let it grow, then it was a 7 or 8 out of 10.
I don't know if I can do that.
Give you a lot of maturity.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other news?
Roblox is generally abusing all of its users.
As a multi-billion-dollar corporation does.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they do. It's what they're designed to do.
We love you, Tencent.
Hey, Tencent.
Really? You
Tencent,
give it a 7 out of 10.
Tencent doesn't own Roblox, so we can talk crap about Roblox all we want.
Bitter says that your stubble is a 7 out of 10 today,
Oh,
Nick.
thank
Oop,
you,
not
Bitters.
me.
Good.
Not
Yes.
me. Not me. You. There we go. 7 out of 10. Really? Oop.
You're my favorite.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. There we go. He's back. Get a little closer to the pit. There we
Really?
go. Yeah, I want to see stubble. No, I want to put the chin to the camera.
And if you
I
want
want
to
to
see
see
Nick show it
a
all,
Oh my
screen
God.
full of stubble. There
Is that
we go.
better? Is
Yeah, a
that
little
better?
bit lower. Yeah, that's good. All right, I'll give it a 4.
if you want to see Nick bear it
adjust.
all,
And
join
that's
us
now
at the
recorded
OnlyFans
for...
GameHounds page.
Alan Casper says, just adding to the pile, the holiday can suck one. I want to go on vacation away from the damn holidays. Oh, and Roblox sucks. Yep. Yeah, fucking the holidays. Not my I mean, normally was my favorite time. This year, no, not at all. Not in the least. Don't like it a bit. So, any other news before we actually start the show officially?
We got a
That's
good
all I
roster
have.
of stuff, so
All right, yeah, okay. That should be
Oh, wait, I
no.
had-
What's going to happen is Nick is going to find some stuff in the middle of the show and then just drop it
did
on
have
me, and then
one-
I'll have to type it out furiously myself.
I did have one more thing. I don't know how newsworthy it was. I just thought it was an interesting curiosity
Mm-hmm.
about Battlefield added some modes, but only for a limited time.
Yeah. If we
I can
find
bring it up at some point because I do
Sure.
think
Playing
it's
Battlefield.
curious.
Yeah. All right. So let me get. Yeah, you could tell my description on the show this time. I sat down to write out the description for the show, and my brain went blank. I was like, just
nice.
nothing in the
Okay,
can.
wait. I might have a new one because Blood Reaper just put something in the Discord. Hades wins a Hugo Award?
Proof, by the way, that we absolutely watch our Discord server, by the way. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Did I do that? Did you do that? I did that. Proof, by the way, that we do indeed use our Discord server. If you would ever like to visit our Discord, there is the Discord. Please feel free to join us. And there is a section about news tips that Nick uses pretty much exclusively. So if you see something in the news that you would like us to cover, we will absolutely cover it if you throw it in the Discord. So, so what was this last item?
Hades wins the first Hugo Award for video games.
Did not know what a Hugo Award is, or if it's particularly.
It's very illustrious.
It's a prestigious sci-fi award.
Science fiction
glad that
that's been around since like God War Shortpan. Isaac Asimov won a Hugo Award. That's how long it's been.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that like everyone has decided that Hades is like amazing. Like
Don't do the
universal.
show before the show. Don't do the show before the show.
No, it's
Don't do the show before the show.
Okay, I mean it is the show right now, Ed.
99%.
We haven't started, but we can start. We will start. We're starting right now. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 622. We are recording this on Sunday, December 19th, 2021. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola as usual. And Andrew Smith is back. Yay, Andrew Smith is back. Woohoo! Yay!
Physically, but not mentally. I need that on a coffee mug. Just...
yeah, you definitely need that on a coffee mug. So we've got a full house. Sorry for not being here last week. That was not planned at all. I had to go help a friend move in the rain, but it got done. So
they needed the help.
They needed the help. Somebody had to do it. I have the pickup truck. It is one of the downsides of having the pickup truck. And that whole thing about don't own a pickup truck because you'll get called by your friends to do moves is 1000% true. Absolutely.
I just tell them, no, you're not my friend. Why are you calling me?
Who are you? Do I know you?
See you next Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah. So, how's things with everybody? Good.
Yeah.
Nick's always good. Nick is he's the great
Nick
block.
lives the perfect life.
He really does. He's got no ups, no downs. He's like no highs, no lows. He must be Bose. Bose. That's a phrase in the sound industry about Bose.
I'm always high. I'm always up here. I'm always high.
Clearly got my PC working again from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. What happened to your PC?
Okay, so I wanted to clear something up. What I was saying not last week, but 2 weeks ago, was that most of the computer parts are over a year old. The graphics card that you helped me get is the newest part, and there was a sale going on for a CPU, like just the one thing, and I bought it, and when I put it in, nothing was turning on. Like when I got everything put together, nothing was turning on. Taking out all the cords, nothing worked. So I had to I just undid every cord, and then I took out the CPU and reset it, and then it just turned back on. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to fix it. I had ordered a new power supply, which I don't think was the problem. But yeah, so I just gotten a brand new CPU, and when I screwed something up, I'm not sure what. It's working now, though. So.
Good. So you can go back to Tarkov.
Yes, it's actually been pretty good.
back to Tarkov.
It was a Cyber Monday sale for anyone who knows PC parts. It's an AMD 5800X, which is a pretty good mid-range CPU, and it's nice. I ended up having $100 from a Amazon gift card for signing up for the credit card, and then it was on sale for 25% off. So I ended up getting it for 50% off, which was cool.
Cool. So nothing has happened to me. I'm going back to work on January 3rd in theory. We have not had the Omicron surge here. That's about to happen here. It's here. We already know it's here. But Nick, your county has how many cases? 20, 25 cases in your county. Okay. My county hasn't confirmed any, but they've found it in the wastewater. So yeah, that's how they're checking. Did you know that?
No.
That is how they are checking. And this is happening across the country. That is how they are checking to find out if there is Omicron in the community that is yet to be identified by sequencing. Is they're checking the pee and poo water to look for the virus, and they're finding it.
God, I'd hate to have that job, though.
Yeah.
In fact, that's somebody's first year of working there. Hey, listen, man, We
Yeah.
have
Good
some
news,
work for
you got a
you.
job. Bad news.
Here's your
That's-
hazmat suit.
That's like the intern at the lab.
Yeah,
That's
what
the
they do.
intern. In fact, where that was sort of pioneered was at SFO. They have been checking wastewater coming out of SFO for the last like almost 2 years, since almost the beginning, because UCSF sent their researchers to start checking the effluent, as they call it, from SFO to determine how much COVID was coming into the country, so that they knew ahead, they could get an early start and go, okay, we know XYZ many people have brought COVID into San Francisco.
Well, if you're checking that in
So
Port, how do you know that that's the people coming in and not the people going
they
out?
don't, but they're assuming that it either means that the COVID is here already, or
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's coming in.
That's true. Either way, it means that amount is here.
Smallest silver lining, like if you're looking for something, I've heard that the Omicron variant is more infectious, but it's not as deadly or severe.
That is still absolutely not known. And here is why. Most places that have a lot of it, the biggest place was the place where it was identified, which was South Africa. South Africa has only 25% vaccination rates. And because of their low vaccination rates, they've had 3 massive surges there. So pretty much everybody in the country has either been infected or their body has seen it. What they call their bodies are no longer COVID naive is the term for it. We have a lot of people in this country that are still COVID naive. That's number 1. Number 2 is that it's a lower chance of you having, it's like the chance of having severe COVID with Delta was 30%. The likelihood of having severe COVID from Omicron right now, they're estimating it at about 13%. That's out of South Africa is that number. So start with that. That number is probably artificially low. But it is so infectious that it's infecting way more people. So even though it's percentage-wise less, even if it is that 13% less likely, only 13% of people get severely sick from COVID and need to go in the ICU, which is probably not the case. There are so many more people that actually catch COVID that you end up with more people in the hospital because of it. You have a bigger surge.
Yeah.
So it's where you get those damn lies statistics kind of thing. It's like, even if it's lower, it's still infecting 10 times the amount of people that Delta would have. So you're still going to get a run on your hospitals. So yeah, I mean, protect yourselves, guys. And if you're already vaccinated and you are eligible for a booster, which means that your Johnson & Johnson shot was 2 months ago or more, go get a fucking booster. No joke. And if you're Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, the second one you got was 6 months ago or more, go get a fucking vaccine, a booster right now. Run. Don't walk for this one.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Gotta go get my booster.
When was your second booster?
Second shot.
Second shot.
I mean, I don't think second boosters are out yet. Months ago.
Not yet.
I don't remember.
6.
Yeah, you should figure it out and go get boosted.
Yeah, because I did find too, because I got the booster a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
When you schedule like your whatever you schedule it for, it's generally a month in advance, or at least like 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Like you can't find something. Oh, I want to get a booster this week. Chances are you're not going to find anything.
There are ways to get them this week, but you have to go to the website for your local public health clinic. Chances are they're doing a walk-up pop-up somewhere. Okay. Like they have pop-ups in my town all the freaking time at the schools, And everybody thinks, oh, it's at the school. It's for the parents and students. It's like, no, it's for everybody. You walk in and you get yourself a
Okay.
booster. AC
Well,
Ray says, my
hopefully-
household is just waiting for the call to go in. They haven't given us a time yet. Wow. Yeah, keep pounding on that one because you want to have that booster on board.
Hopefully, I
Alan
have
says,
no
go ahead.
effect. When I took the vaccine, both shots did almost nothing to me other than just like a sore arm. I'm hoping the booster is the same.
Yeah,
Probably.
I didn't have much of a reaction to the original 2 shots, and the booster just felt like a regular flu shot. It's like someone hit my arm a bunch of times, and it's a little sore, but that's it.
Yep. Alan Casper makes the best argument right here. I got mine about 1.5 months ago, second shot back in April, plain English. I have a 3-year-old who can't be vaccinated. I'm not going to F around. People can turn this into a freedom fight, but my kids are priority 1. It's that simple. And yeah, no joke. I walked into my local CVS and got my booster when I went to buy beef jerky.
Really? That's a good combination.
Nothing can touch you if you can survive beef
I mean,
jerky.
It's kind of like getting a
I
lollipop
got mine
for
at
adults.
Lucky's, and I walked out with a couple bags of chips too. So what can I say?
It's like a lollipop for adults. You go and get your booster, get jerky or a bag of chips.
That's right. It's the best
Who's
thing
a
these
good
stores
boy?
can do,
Who's
you
a
know?
good boy?
Dude,
They
can you
offer the
imagine if-
boosters. They get you into the store. You're gonna get something. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm here. I've got to wait 15 minutes to make sure there's no negative reaction.
Right,
So,
you're gonna wander the halls and go, yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of do need a new hairbrush.
Can you imagine if they did give out like a bag of chips or like a small bag of jerky with every booster shot? Like so many people would go in and get it
that'd
done.
be nice. It's like
Dude.
if you give blood and they give you cookies.
When we were doing boosters, I mean, like the vaccines early on, well, it wasn't super early on. Once like the initial wave ended, they started in California. Well, you know about the lottery that they entered you into a lottery, but then they also started giving out $150 gift cards for each vaccine for every person in your house. And it could be
Why
like,
didn't I get any of this?
because you went before they started handing them out. They were that was when they were like, okay, we're willing to bribe you now. So you could walk out, like a family of 4 could walk out easily twice with like $500 worth of gift cards for
Damn.
food, for Safeway gift cards and Best Buy gift cards. You have a choice of Safeway or Best Buy. Yeah. There's
Okay.
a freaking reason why we are 70% vaccinated here in California.
Should have held out.
Alan Casper said, Wild Bills and an arm jab? Yes'm.
Okay.
Bitter says, offer beer. Yes.
Well,
Yes,
people
free
have to
beer.
drive, so
Free wings. People would do it.
Mm.
All right. So, shall we get into what games we played, gentlemen?
I mean, we are a gaming podcast, so maybe.
I mean, yeah, we're not the
In
vaccine
theory.
podcast. I mean, everything's a vaccine podcast these days. By the way, let me put something out there. There are 5 people here that I see watching. I do not see any thumbs up. Please tappy tap the thumbs up. It really does help. We would like to have more people joining us. And the way that happens is if YouTube sees that that you like what you see. So please, wherever you are, give us a thumbs up or whatever it takes to approve of us right now. And if you think that this is awful, go ahead and do a thumbs down and leave a comment about
No one's
why
going to
you
see
think
it
it's awful.
anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, no, we don't know how many dislikes we get.
We need to know. That's right. We don't. Well, actually, there's ways around that. So let's talk games, my friends.
Okay.
With
Mike,
that energy is
you want to
just
start?
Yeah, go ahead, Nick. It's all
Oh,
you.
Okay. I finished Resident Evil 8.
Mhm.
And I finished it a couple weeks ago. So it took me a while to remember that I had finished it when we were talking about games that we were playing for the
Mhm.
show. If I remember correctly, last time I talked about it, I was complaining about the factory area, that it went on for a little bit too long. The balance between horror and action was a little skewed. Thankfully, that area ends really well. And in retrospect, I like what it was trying to do. It had a lot of really good moments in it. Something kind of reminiscent of the classic hallway scene from the first game. Just a lot of good individual spooky moments. But overall, it's like, yeah, it's the lesser area of the game. But it ended well. And the whole game, I think, ended well. There's a very large exposition dump in the end that connects a lot of 7 and 8 to the larger Resident Evil mythology and kind of really connects Ethan Winters as a character to all of the Resident Evil's past, which is interesting. It is a little lazy that oh man, the game's almost over. Let's just put a bunch of like diary pages in this room to explain what the hell was going on.
What did you just do?
Yeah, what was all this
Here
about?
you go. Here you go.
That's
This
pretty
is what
much
you did.
that's pretty much what they do. But I don't mind that so much because most of that is just, like I said, lore connecting this one to the larger Resident Evil mythology. Then the story for this one is just generally straightforward. Hey, your daughter's in danger. Go rescue her from all these creepy people.
I think it was just this plot device to let people simp over Lady Dimitrescu. Like that's all they wanted. They knew what the internet was gonna do with her.
No, they so totally did not. I think because she's the first person you fight, and thus the first boss you defeat.
Aw.
Otherwise, they would have put her
spoilers.
at the end of the game to make people go all the way.
It's not
so
a
to speak.
spoiler. There's 4 areas and 4 bosses, and
Mhm.
guess what? You defeat the bosses to progress through the game.
I
That's-
bought in the game and I want to play it eventually, but spoilers.
You defeat bosses as you progress through this video game until you get to the final boss, which you also defeat.
That's so new in games.
Yeah.
Just wrecked it for
Hey, look,
everybody.
it's me.
Nick.
I'm on
Okay.
screen.
No,
The
that's more
mocap
me.
for this.
That's more me.
That mocap for this was kind of exhausting that day. I had a lot to do.
Yeah, it looks like you did a lot.
So,
yeah,
thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs definitely way up. Even if the factory was a weak part, the rest of the game is really strong. Yeah, looks great, plays great. It manages to be that balance of genuinely creepy, scary moments within a larger framework that's just fucking absurd. Like the Resident Evil games have long ago gone off the deep end, and generally each game has this little arc of starting off as like a kind of grounded horror game and then eventually becoming just a crazy over the top action game, and this does exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a fun progression.
Yeah. Bitter says the tall lady is hot, Lady Demiscu, and Blood Reaper says the final boss is kind of cute. Who is the final boss?
Final boss, depending, maybe a woman or a fetus. And if that's not a tease to play the game.
So do you have to play 7 to like understand anything of 8?
Not really. All you have to understand from 7 is that some shit went down in like the Louisiana swamplands, and hey, they escaped.
Okay.
Bitters is volunteering himself as like to be a crush video.
I don't get it, but fine. Sure.
So Alan Casper says, talking games this year, Wildermyth, possibly my favorite game of the year in past 5 years. I feel like Nick would love this too. Awesome procedurally generated stories with a D&D RPG progression. Campaigns take place over generations of characters. Really one of a kind with XCOM style tactical combat. Near infinite replayability. That sounds something like I would like.
Yeah. I watched the Waypoint crew.
Mhm.
They had a bunch of videos where they played through a campaign of Wildermyth, and it was really fun. The only reason I haven't played that is because I think it's only on PC at the moment, and it's just generally
that might
not
have something to do
my
with it.
platform. But I know of it. I have definitely heard good things about Wildermyth.
Mhm.
How many people can play co-op? Do you know?
In Wildermyth?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because it looks cute, and it'd be fun to get like a group of people to play that.
I'm
Quite
pulling it
Waltz
up
just
right
said
now because
Among Us
I don't
is
think
on
I've even
console.
seen Wildermyth, which is just
It's got
not
kind of
really a
a
good
cool
look on me.
papercraft style.
Yeah, add that to my wish list. Thank you.
Mhm.
That looks fun, Alan.
There
I
we
know.
go. There's the link for it.
Personally, I always have I listen to podcasts a lot, and they talk about a lot of games that have come out on PC, and I find that I have a list of like, oh, these are good games I've heard on podcasts, and
Oh,
I'm
I
waiting for it
have
to come out on
played
console.
this. I have played this.
Really?
Yes, I did like it. It's like I played it, I enjoyed it, and then I forgot about it because I stepped away or something. But yes, I remember this now. Yes, it is very cool. And yeah, it's like you said, papercraft play style. And if you end up getting somebody killed, then there's like, like you said, like it's generational. It's not just that one, like that one person dies. You've got children and everything else. It's a really, really neat, in almost like you said, it's an infinite game. It just keeps going. So I really did enjoy it, but I don't know why I walked away and never came back.
Sometimes life just gets in the way of things.
Yeah.
5 players.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This hit about 1 month ago. It hit 1.0 about a month ago or 2. So good. Yeah. I remember this now. I think it was one of those nights where I started playing it and I enjoyed it, but it was one that required a lot of reading, which wasn't awful, but it still was, like especially in the early game, you were kind of struggling because you don't have good equipment and trying to figure out the game. And so I think I probably played it a good 2.5 hours. And then I was like, yeah, not bad. Maybe I'll come back. And then didn't. And it wasn't on PC.
Oh,
Was on a console, I recall.
okay. I'm just looking. There was a Switch port that had been announced, but no date.
Um, I'm looking up. There's something. It looks so freaking familiar.
Oh, maybe it wasn't this that you played. It was that other game. What was it called? The one Spiffing Brit plays a lot. Oh my God, what's the name?
He plays a lot of everything, guy, dude.
Like you crash on a place. It's a top down
No.
view. It's about people that crash and you're trying to survive.
God, why? Maybe I'm wrong because I don't think I played this.
RimWorld.
Oh, it wasn't Rimworld.
Okay. Okay.
God, it looks so familiar. I know that I played something, but I recall it being on a platform. So it must not have been Wildermyth. But there was something very similar to it. I recall playing on a console. God damn it! Now I'm gonna have to go back on my console and figure out what it was.
So yeah, there is a Switch port coming, so that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it being. It's kind of a good game to go to console. I don't see why it isn't there already. But
If Reddit is to be trusted, in my Google search that took 5 minutes, something about the engine was made on Java, which is very PC specific, and so it just takes a lot of work.
Wow, it's a shame they did that on Java. Anyway, all right. So, what's the next game you played?
Moondown. It is a game from a Swedish studio, and it's a cool, creepy adventure game. And one of the most striking things about it is that the art style, it looks like everything is a charcoal drawing or like a very heavily penciled. The actual 3D models are kind of simple, not too dissimilar from like early PlayStation 2 type of aesthetic. But when you look at characters and stuff, it's all very black and It's like a charcoal drawing on an old yellowed piece of paper. So it's like this monochrome between gray and off white.
Sepia.
Yeah, gray and sepia. And it's a cool little horror adventure game. You play as a guy who is going to the town of Moondown because you got a letter from the priest that says your uncle has died. And so there's something suspicious about the letter, and so you want to go and investigate what's going on. And you find that there was a fire in your uncle's barn, but he's kind of still in the barn and has become part of the barn. And you learn that there's a curse put on him. So that starts
The curse to be a barn.
God, he was cursed to die, and he just kind of happened to be in the barn, and the windows were blocked, and he just burned. You know, he was cursed to die one way or another.
This has like Silent Hill vibes.
Yeah.
It
Well, I
kind of
mean, it's the
does.
hanging meat might have something to do with that.
Yeah, this is a very Silent Hill-esque puzzle that you're looking at here, but the whole game is definitely nowhere near as Silent Hill feels aggressively disturbing. This feels more like a fairy tale. So there's not a lot of it that's I wouldn't necessarily say the game is outright scary or frightening, but it's consistently creepy, kind of unnerving, very eerie.
What is wrong with your hand?
You also got cursed.
Oh, okay.
And so now you're turning into like a weird wooden block.
You're turning into a barn.
Mhm.
Turning into a gray block.
Oh, yes. And so
Edie, it's just his hand. Why you gotta be mean like that?
yeah, come on, Edie. Except some people
I
just
know,
have
I'm a
different types of
woodist.
hands. But so once you find this out about your uncle, you kind of start digging deeper into the town, and naturally, secrets are revealed about what your uncle got up to in his past, secrets of the town, and it plays out like a general adventure game where you go around, collect items, use the items to progress through the environments.
His thumb's bothering me. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry for interrupting.
The
I'm
way that it's
watching-
like bending.
Yes, like it's bending back like
Yeah.
270 degrees, and
there
it's
are-
just
There are a couple good moments in the game where when something spooky happens, you put up a hand and the fingers just bend in as if they were plastic or as if they were rubber.
So, fun fact. Mundown,
Oh, it's a real
Switzerland.
place?
It is a real place.
Oh, wow.
so.
There it
I
is.
mean, might explain why it feels like a fairy tale.
Yeah, looks like it's a little farming community. There's a little downtown.
That's really interesting because it certainly makes the
They have a
town
gondola.
It certainly makes the town feel like a shitty place. There is a gondola in Moondown, the video
Mhm.
game.
So there's a bar.
Is there a mountain peak nearby?
Yes. Well, obviously, because they wouldn't have a gondola unless you had a mountain peak.
True, because the snowy mountain peak plays a very important role in the story. In fact, one of the things that happens in the very beginning is you take a bus up to the entrance to the town, and then the clouds come in.
Yep.
And when the clouds come in, they come in below you.
Oh,
And so your
interesting.
character mentions that, like, oh yeah, whenever the clouds come in like this, it feels like we're separated from the rest of the world.
So yeah, this is in Park Obersaxon, which is right there. There we go. There it is. It's downtown Mundown.
Way more green than there is in the game. That's
Well,
definitely.
it's probably has to do with the season.
Yeah. But that's neat. Yeah, the game itself, it does a really good job of just being one of those what the cliche of, the Eastern European children's story that's like really creepy and unnerving. It strikes that tone.
Mhm.
For example, at one point you find a severed goat's head, and naturally, like you would do, you take it with you.
You
And-
collect those. I mean,
Yeah.
how often do you find a severed goat head? At this point, it's just so rare that
Yeah.
you can't leave it.
You find it, you take it with you, and at a certain point,
Everybody
gets-
needs a souvenir.
it gets thirsty, and so you put it in a
Whoa, wait, whoa! The
All right,
goat's
When
head.
the severed goat head becomes a fucking Neopet, I'm done.
You
I don't
put
need it.
you put it in a little fountain, it drinks some water, and then it starts talking to you
Yeah,
and
no.
giving you advice. And it becomes like a kind of core mechanic of the game at certain points is getting some help from the goat head.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, yeah. There's that. I don't know.
And
Unless
so
there's some folklore behind, like
I
little goats.
wonder how much of this is Swedish folklore because
Well, it's funny
some-
that Mundown is in Switzerland. Are you sure it's Swedish?
Yes, it is a Swedish developer.
Okay.
I looked it
Alright.
up. Because one of the first enemies you fight are like these they're not hay bales. Because when you say hay bale in America, you think about the big round blocks of hay. But here, the hay is like stacked into little pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first enemies you fight feels like those pyramids come to life, where these like little hay creatures with these pyramid heads kind of start following you around. And every time they attack you, it feels like they're stabbing you with all those little blades of hay, trying to turn you into a hay creature as well.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so that feels like something that would be a Swedish country folklore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how much of it is folklore and how much of it is designed just for this game, but all of it works really well together. And I if you can find a person, because there's other characters in this game, it's not just you. Oh wait, you're about to see one of the hate creatures. But if you can find a living person, that does a good job showing off the kind of pencil charcoal aesthetic of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there's a hey dude.
That was a hey dude.
That was a hey dude. If you get close, you can see that the hay is kind of opened up in the middle, and there's a little screaming man inside
Oh
there.
god, that's kind of fucked up.
And see, you defeat them by setting them on fire because they are made of hay.
That is really messed up.
So I'm skimming over an article from an interview of the developer,
Mhm.
and like out of context for this, but he said the Alps hold a special place in my heart, and I want to create an experience that embodies my summer trips as a child. And
What
out
kind
of
of
context,
fucked up childhood did this person have? Wow.
So in the chat, AC Wraith said that the game developers have said that the game was inspired by The Shining and a Swiss novella called The Black Spider. And I'm looking up The Black Spider now because that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
but yeah. Well, what did you think? Like, was it a good game overall? Like,
Yes, it was a good game. It was longer than I thought it would be. I was expecting just like a very short, 3 to 5 hour. I was expecting more of a walking simulator type of game, but it actually turned out to be a much more substantial adventure game where you're exploring, not an open world, you're exploring an area. Actually, if you find benches, you sit down, you can draw a map of the area. And so you kind of explore an area, move on to the next one, explore it, move on to the next, and you do that a couple times. And so it turned out to be a pretty substantial game.
And what did you play this on?
PlayStation 4 or 5.
Okay. How much was it? Do you
PlayStation.
remember?
Oh, no, I think it was like 15, 20 bucks.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a full price game or anything.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely an indie game. Yeah, $20. It's 20 bucks.
Cool. I may pick that up because I'm gonna be hi Soot. I'm gonna be home for Christmas doing nothing. So I'm planning on doing a lot of gaming and drinking.
Cool.
And gaming and drinking. All right. So anything else?
I was about to say no, and then I remembered I played a demo. I played The Matrix Awakens, which was I think was revealed at the Game Awards, and it's basically a tech demo for excuse me, Unreal Engine 5. And hearing other people talk about it on podcasts is what made me finally want to try it out, because I was listening to the people at Waypoint talk about it, and they made an interesting point that Unreal Engine 5 is kind of the next generation video game engine.
Mhm.
And a lot of reasons why a lot of the next gen games for the Series X and PlayStation 5 haven't really felt like they did that big next generation leap in graphics is because the engine isn't really there to support it. And
Right.
that this engine is kind of the thing that will bring games into that next generation. And you can certainly see that. The demo looks fantastic. It looks really, really impressive. And after the whole Matrix kind of shootout, and you have Neo and Trinity just talking about some stuff, you get to go around the city. And it does a cool thing where, in order to prove to you that all of this is being rendered in real time, you can turn on and off a bunch of filters. So you can immediately change the time of day to whatever you want. You can kind of turn on and off certain shading. You can see like the wireframe of the buildings, the polygons of the buildings. You can change crowd density and basically just get developer tools to mess around with what's being displayed.
Neat.
Has kind of proof of, hey, look, all of this stuff is being, programmed and rendered, and like I forget the word I'm looking for. All of this is done in real time. It's not a pre-rendered cutscene. Like, we can control any of this at once. And it does a good job proving that, hey, Unreal Engine 5 is going to be really bonkers when games start to ship with it.
I wonder if there was enough an impetus to do this. I mean, maybe it's simply because of the genre, of the way that it looks, but it looks like what Cyberpunk was supposed to be.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
And that they're saying, no, this is like, this actually will work. After the debacle of Cyberpunk, that they're like, oh, no, we can make this work.
Yeah. What is interesting, though, and this is also more stuff I got from the Waypoint podcast, is that you look at the city, and the city is super high resolution, which means that it's going to take a lot of artist work to create things that look this good. But apparently, one of the things Epic is doing is creating an asset store so that indie developers, apparently the city that you're seeing, every piece of it is going to be an asset that you can purchase on an asset store that Epic is offering. So if an indie developer wants to make an open world game set in a city, they can buy this city and set their game in it. So like,
if
they wanted those stoplights, they can just buy those stoplights as asset. If they want that bench, they can just buy that bench asset and use it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So for an engine that only looks good when you have like the people and time and money to invest into heavy art dedication, it's good that Epic is kind of taking a little bit of that stress off of indie developers by offering a lot of those assets in a storefront.
I don't know if they can do this, but this would be really cool if people could make their own content, like their own assets, and then sell them on the marketplace. So like they'll Unreal Epic would get a kickback, but you could make your own like designs that people could buy.
I mean, I don't know if Epic would allow that in their storefront, but there are already plenty of asset storefronts that VFX artists can go to buy stuff like that. Like, those places absolutely exist.
Yeah, I can't wait to make Ookie Bookie Spelookie in this.
It's going to be awesome. Realistic resolution.
That box is going to have
high def
awesome
gray
texture.
blocks everywhere.
4K gray block textures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Why is
it's
this
going to
game
be
32 gigs?
a
The
tour de
texture.
force.
Yeah. AC Wraith put a link to a Waypoint episode, but I don't think that's the episode that they were talking about Matrix on. That's them talking about the Animatrix, like them talking about the old animated anime Matrix anthology that came out a decade ago.
Yeah. So, all right. So, does this make you more interested in the Matrix Awake? So, was this just a tech demo for this, or is this going to be an actual game that is going to
I
be
think it
made
was
on
just a
this?
tech demo.
Oh, okay.
It's so much a tech demo that it starts with Keanu Reeves like going in, talking about like giving what feels so much like you get a celebrity to do a corporate pitch. At a
Mhm.
certain point, he turns to the camera and goes, "Hi, I'm Keanu Reeves. I play Neo in the Matrix." And it's like, okay, this is
It's not a game.
no, it's not a game. It is 100% like a corporate pitch thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it looks great.
Yeah, yeah.
And if it makes our games look better, yeah, I'm all for it. All right, so Andrew, you're up.
Right. So outside of Tarkov, I'll start with that. There's a new wipe for Tarkov, and if you play Tarkov at all, I'm not sure how much of our audience is into it. Every 6 months, 8 months, they wipe, which means that they take everyone's gear and everyone restarts at 0, and typically they make big balance changes.
That
It's
feels brutal.
It's a good thing though, because you get to a point where people who are playing that are tryhards have the best gear, have unlimited money, and can buy whatever they want.
Yeah.
So when
yeah.
you hop in as a new player, you go out into a game and you have trashy ammo that can barely pierce level 2 armor, and when you're fighting against somebody with level 5 armor, you literally do no damage. They are a walking tank
Okay.
compared to you. So having that wipe evens the playing field again. It allows them to restructure the economy. In this case, they got used to be able to buy a lot of the most powerful ammo on the marketplace, and you can't do that anymore. So now you can no longer just use money to buy ammo that'll tear people apart. This is good. This is a good thing. And with this update, they added a new inertia system, so people can't like wiggle as much and like
Can't wiggle,
run and
wiggle, wiggle
jump.
to let him know.
Yeah.
Please don't shoot me. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
There's a slight delay because you have weight to the movement now. They added a brand new map called Lighthouse, which has been pretty cool with a new faction, and some new weapons, balance changes, stuff like that. So there's a lot going on. If you like Tarkov, good time to get back into it. So that's pretty much my Tarkov pitch. I've talked a lot about it before in different podcast episodes, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But yeah, new wipe, hop back in if this is your kind of game. If it's not, don't play it. It'll crush you.
Did you hop back in because they wiped thing, because you knew that okay, everything's on an even playing field again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And because it's just a good chance to restart and like go back into the game, especially with something like Lighthouse, a new map, because you don't really want to go to a new map if like the game wasn't wiped, because immediately people would gear up with the best armor and stuff and roll. Oh, he stepped on mine. And just roll in. So back I think a year or two ago, I don't know if I've ever mentioned their long-term plans for this game, but they've mentioned wanting to take all the separate instances of maps and then turn it into one big map, kind of like an MMO, where it's you load into the map and there's going to be like 150 people, and you can travel across all the areas that they've created, and that there'll just be one area, instead of all these extra maps. And they're coming out with a new map at some point that they released back, I think, in E3 called the Streets of Tarkov, which is kind of part of that, where it is going to have, they're ideally saying 150 people, and that would just be insane.
Oh God, I can't imagine.
All it would take was one hacker to ruin the entire lobby, but
Yeah.
that's different. But yeah, good stuff. That's pretty much my Tarkov pitch for now. I'm not as heavily into it as I was last time, partly just because of work, and this game crushes you. It makes you realize that you are not a gamer. In fact, you are a pleb at all things, at all times.
So when things get wiped, does the stuff that you did to your home base also get wiped?
Everything
Okay.
gets reset.
Wow.
So like the toilet that you had set up, the little
Yeah,
workstation.
Oh,
it's
your
back to a
toilet's
bucket.
gone, and you really worked at that toilet.
It's back to a bucket.
Oh.
Yes. You get a starting section, like selection of gear that they give out every morning.
There's a bucket.
Hey,
You okay there,
hey,
Nick?
You know what's worse than a bucket? Not having a bucket.
True. At least have something you can put on top of the bucket.
No,
No, oh,
it's kind
not
of
even
a
a lid?
squatter. Hey, if you work hard enough, you can get your own porta potty down there. So it's kind of funny because your like hideout, none of it's built up. But if you buy like the EOD edition of the game, which is like $100, you get a maxed out stash. So you have like nothing. It's a disgusting bunker that's been abandoned, except your stash, which is this highly advanced containers and like really clean bench and all this stuff where you would prepare. And I just think that's hilarious. It's like, I really had my priorities straight coming down here.
Yep. Yeah, I want to build stuff. I can crap anywhere.
Yeah, so Tarkov. Outside of that, I've been playing a game called Super People. Super People is a new battle royale. It's made by a Korean studio, and I forget who made it currently. And it's currently in closed beta, but you can just go to the Steam page and request access, and they'll give anyone access. So it's kind of like, kind of a closed beta.
That sounds like, I guess not open. 'Cause
Closed
open
beta.
would be anyone can join.
Yeah. If you do play it, they do ask for your phone number so they can send you a code to verify that you're not a bot.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I've only played it for like a day.
How is
Okay.
this different from Tarkov?
Okay, so it is Tarkov is like you build up and like you get to keep your gear. This is a battle royale, so you find gear in the map.
Got it.
And I don't know if you've ever seen or played PUBG, but this game is almost a blatant ripoff of PUBG.
So,
like
Oh,
Based-
that's the start.
based on the name, I was expecting something with superheroes.
you
But
have
watching this
superpowers.
video, okay, because this video doesn't look like
Okay,
super
so
people.
when you start, the game feels incredibly like PUBG. Like the animations, the gun models, like it's almost a blatant ripoff. But honestly, to me, they've done everything better. Like the graphics are smoother, the guns feel great. Like nothing about it feels cheap to me, other than maybe a potential microtransaction in the future. But we'll see if that actually happens. Because you get gold, and you can find gold, and you get gold after every game. And I'll explain what that's used for here in a minute. So, PUBG was like the granddaddy battle royale. A lot of base things came from PUBG with the genre. That's the best way I could explain what to expect when you first drop in. But like I mentioned, there are classes that have powers and abilities, and each class has a specific weapon that they're particularly good with. So you kind of want to aim for that gun when you're that class. You don't have to, but you could. And if you look at the bottom right in this video in particular, you have a set of skills that you get from leveling up. And then you can find these things called shards of the map that'll give you one of those level ups, essentially. It's random, though. And it adds, like, bonus damage, quite a bit for that matter. Possibly damage resist, movement speed. You can get the ability to slide, an RPG. There's a variety of things that you can get from these skills. That's the first thing that sets it apart from PUBG. And so when you land, you have none of that. So it's very much just your standard battle royale gunfighting game. But once you get to mid to late game, everything's completely different. Like you have more things to worry about than you did in PUBG. Like with PUBG, it's kind of a linear experience that once you get your gun and your attachments and your gear, you're done worrying about it, right? Like that at that point it's surviving. But now you have to worry about like who you're fighting, what classes, what abilities, trying to get all your abilities like leveled up and useful. And outside of that, which like some people can unlock a roll or slide, you have an ultimate. Each character has an ultimate. For instance, there's one person who becomes super fast and like basically gets super speed for a brief burst. One person drops the nuclear bomb, which is kind of fun.
That seems a little overpowered.
It is, but it's very, very telegraphed, and it's meant to kind of push people out of buildings and stuff so that they can't hunker down. One person can summon a car, and they have the ability called super jump, so they can, when they're in the car, they can make it leap into the air like 50 feet. And it's this purple gold Jeep thing that's very like ostentatious. Like it's hilarious. And they're known as the driver. One person can pull out a minigun. There's a very wide variety. People can teleport. One person can throw out a force field that slows people down.
So it's kind of like a mix of PUBG and Apex Legends.
It's a mix of all of it. Like
interesting.
It took all of those battle rail concepts that have been brought out and like mashed them together. And honestly, it's kind of good. I'm enjoying it. Everything feels pretty damn polished for a closed beta. I've had one crash. And yes, that's the Jeep, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Thank
that
you,
is
Summon.
pretty. That is pretty gaudy.
And yeah, so you can make that Jeep just jump like 50 feet in the air. But like some of the characters, you get extra jump height, right? Like that was one of the characters I was playing. It's the one that moves really fast. And the jump height is substantial. Like these are substantial bonuses and not like small ones that make you feel like you're not really gaining anything. And that makes kind of the in-game incredibly unbalanced and wild. You don't know what's going to happen. I kind of dig it. I've wanted to go back to PUBG slightly, and this is kind of like going back to PUBG, just better, just more.
That's cool.
It's free right now. It's closed beta. They plan to release it free to play. They have a gold system. I was going to mention this. So when you load into a game, you don't choose your class. It's random.
Oh.
You can pay 100 gold to reroll it once. So like 100 gold to just reroll. Or you can pay 500 gold to choose.
Oh, okay.
And you get gold in a game. It can range anywhere from like, depending on how well you do, 20 to, I think one game where I won a solo game with 8 kills, I got like 400. And the daily rewards gave me 10,000 and then 5,000. And I don't know if that's just because it's the beta, but like,
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So like you're constantly playing new classes, which is pretty cool. You're constantly wanting different guns and stuff like that, which I find interesting. It makes the gameplay variety better. Outside of that, like it takes 100 gold to revive somebody from dead. Kind of. I haven't really worked out how that mechanics works because I've seen that happen, and then it didn't cost another 100 gold once you revived somebody else. And that's nice because in PUBG, once you die, you're just dead.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, you get you go down, and then you get a 5-minute timer after you die for somebody to come spend like 30 seconds reviving you. So like it's a really long revive time that you can't really get off in combat, but it is a way for that after combat, even if you die, you can get back up and get into the game, which is cool. If you get like shot down and killed, you can get your stuff looted. So like if someone brings you back, you might have to regather your loot. I think it's interesting without putting like the obviously same respawn mechanic that Warzone or Apex has. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, like what you're expecting gameplay wise is just very much PUBG. That's all I can really say about like the actual gameplay of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it feels like it's the PUBG style and controls, but incorporates all these other elements. If anything, it looks like PUBG 2.
Right. I was actually
little
going to
bit.
say that. It sounds like it's like PUBG with extra perks, and it seems like an evolution of the original as opposed to a ripoff.
The biggest issue I think it's going to have is the market is a bit saturated with battle royales. You have
Yeah.
the big ones, the Warzone, the Respawn
Yeah.
with Apex. Like it finding a place long term, I think will be hard. Kind of want it to though, and again, its balancing might get a little iffy at the end of the game, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's been Super People.
Cool. All right. So, shall we hit the news?
Sure.
All right. Let's hit. Wait for it. Wait for it. Sliders up. Let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie, Andrew Smith, which is awesome to say again, and Nick DiNicola.
I feel
So-
like you almost said "Holy Goalie."
No. God, no. Screw that guy.
You say that, Edie, but like I still feel like I'm just holding a chair, keeping it warm for Holy Goalie.
No, you're not. No. So our first item is
I mean, I guess we can jump into all the NFT news because it kind of encompasses a whole bunch of stuff.
so much NFT news this week. Holy crap.
NFTs are shit. Moving on.
Yes, NFTs are
yeah.
shit, and they're going to make your game shittier. All right, so I'll just hit what I have happen. Is that here's what happens when you let finance bros run your freaking game studios. All right, Ubisoft last week announced that it's going to be launching in-game NFTs, an NFT project called Ubisoft Quartz, which will turn in-game cosmetics into collectible NFTs. The NFTs are called Digits, and they're going to be integrated into various Ubisoft games. Digits have already launched. They launched on December 9th, and they launched them. They could be picked up on specific days. They were available on December 9th, December 12th, and December 15th in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. They've also announced that Stalker 2, when it launches next year, is going to have NFTs. And it's
True story. Gonna have to get in the middle of that. Stalker 2, after fan backlash, it says they're not going to have NFTs.
I
Well,
did not see that.
What's funny about that is first they put out like a Twitter post that doubled down on it and was like, hey, we're going to try to explain why we're doing this.
That's
And
the
then,
last thing I heard.
6 hours later, they put up another one that was like, okay, we hear you. We're not going to do it.
They're like, let us explain. And like, oh, we got convinced
Yeah.
it was wrong.
But also for the Ubisoft stuff,
Yeah.
this is from a Kotaku article that when you look at the fine print of like what's going on, it's really obvious that the NFT isn't really adding anything to the game because since all of the transactions are being handed off to the blockchain, Ubisoft washes their hands of like any financial responsibility. So Ubisoft can't reverse or cancel any transactions. They have no liability for claims or damages. And like it says, the blockchain is subject to specific weaknesses which make them possibly targets for specific cybersecurity threats, but we have no
Yeah.
liability in any of this risk.
Yeah, they're bringing no good to this. This benefits absolutely no one except scammers and Ubisoft in that original, like
And it's crazy because
it's
they sell this idea of, oh, the users have more control over the cosmetic that they buy because they own it. But then at the same time, in the fine print, Ubisoft is saying, yeah, if anything bad goes wrong, that's all on
All
you.
on you. That's a you
It
problem,
sucks.
not an us problem.
And so you don't actually have that control.
And have you seen the actual like NFTs they're selling?
It's a helmet with a number on
yeah,
it.
I actually
Right,
linked
the
it in the
number
private
is
chat.
different. It's the same helmet for everybody with a slightly different number, or it's like an armor, a chest armor with like, okay, there's one little thing, like one
Edie,
color. It's
I
slightly
linked
different.
something in private chat if you want to throw it up on the screen so people know exactly what you're getting. If you've played Breakpoint, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint for 600 plus hours, this is what you get. And also, I do want to say, like, we're saying Ubisoft, but I want to make it, yes, that's it. That's
And
the
it's
mask
not
you
that
get.
that's a unique mask. It's that up on that little thing that you see up on the
On the
top
forehead.
or on the forehead that I don't have an ability to be able to. Let's see, I can't even zoom in.
Control.
I don't think it zooms in
roll
that
your mouse.
far.
Oh, maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm a Mac, so it doesn't do that. But yeah, the little thing, there we go. Right, this thing right here at the top. That's the only thing that's different, and it's a different code. That's it.
And I want to say that, like, we're saying Ubisoft, but it's very much a higher up decision right now. And a lot of the Kotaku articles, everyone except the top like people are upset about this decision.
Yeah,
No
right.
one wants this.
The developers
know
are upset. The
developers
employees
have
are
said,
upset.
like, we don't know how this will implemented. We're kind of worried that it might be forced on us. And I think Yves Guillemot had like a kind of spur of the moment meeting when he tried to talk about all this. And in the Kotaku article with people that have leaked what he said, he basically spouted off a bunch of buzzwords. And
Right.
what's also funny
Which
is
makes it clear that he doesn't understand what NFTs are.
yeah, but what's
This
also
is
interesting
just,
is
finance bros going, dude, NFT, dude, it's cryptocurrency, it's the new thing.
the person who spoke to Kotaku made a point of saying when all of the sexual harassment stuff was going on with Ubisoft, he didn't call a special meeting to explain what was going on. But when
There was a lot of
This
negative
was-
hearsay about this.
yeah, then he jumps in and is like, no, let's do this.
Right.
Which
One
is
of the things
okay.
he actually said in that meeting is, quote unquote, NFTs are just the beginning.
Yeah,
Actually, the full quote for that is he said that the negative reaction was planned and that like it was expected and that it's going to be like DLC and microtransactions and loot boxes and how the community initially hated them and then they just got fucking used to it. Like they got used to being
Except
abused. They didn't. He
we
didn't say that, I'm
didn't,
paraphrasing.
because loot boxes and microtransactions are still subject of intense controversy. Even now, people are complaining specifically about Halo Infinite and the multiplayer because the way that game handles the microtransactions of its cosmetic is kind of really fucking shady. Just as a specific example, you have to buy individual colors for individual suits of armor. So if I buy the color blue, I can only put that blue on suit of armor A, but not suit of armor B. But even then, you can't just buy blue. They only sell packs of stuff. So if I want blue, I have to pay $20 to get blue, a gun, a helmet, shoulder pads, and a chest piece. Like
Oh,
that's
gross.
the only selling bundles, and the bundles of like every little piece of cosmetic has been broken out to nickel and dime people in such a specific skeevy way. So yeah,
Well, what you
clearly
mean by that? Well,
microtransactions
yes,
are acceptable.
right, but microtransactions have not slowed down the industry. With the exception of one game, there was no game that was destroyed by the microtransaction / loot box being in there. There are a lot of people complaining,
Well,
but it didn't stop them from buying, and it didn't stop them from
I
playing.
think Battlefront really put the kibosh on loot boxes. I don't think loot boxes have really been pushed as hard now. And I think that's why a lot of people are going to NFTs because they realize, oh shit, I can't do loot boxes anymore.
The
Right.
worst part about this is that it highlights the worst part of the industry when he says shit like this. It's disgusting anti-consumerism where it's just, oh, this will make us money. Like
Right.
Which I get, he's a
And
company.
eventually
It's-
the industry, the consumer will accept it if we just keep ramming it down their throat.
yeah, like that's. and
It's the
he's a
same way
company
that
that's gonna-
they handled sexual harassment in their company of like,
Oh,
well, if we
gross.
don't
Yeah.
change anything
People would just
and
stop
just
talking
keep
about
doing it, people will stop talking about it and just accept that that's the way things are.
That's a really bad phrasing, Edie. Though I just
What?
want to go back and read the transactions. If we just keep jamming it down their throat, they will
Look,
accept it,
you heard
just
that.
like the
You heard-
sexual harassment.
Okay. Point taken. Point taken. Maybe poorly chosen words there.
Maybe super accurate words.
Very maybe.
You don't know. It could be
maybe.
either inappropriate or 100%
It's not
accurate.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
More on that though. The person who, the company or the part of Ubisoft that is being the hurt most by this is Ubisoft Paris, who's in charge of the Breakpoint game.
Yeah, it is funny that they first implemented this with Breakpoint, which is the game that didn't really sell well. It's kind of the redheaded stepchild of Ubisoft's current ongoing support.
Paris, Ubisoft Paris loves that game. They have tried everything they could to rehabilitate that game, and they've done a good job. But it's a game that has built up a player base over the years and
Oh,
has really
good.
bounced back from an initial really shitty launch. They got forced to do this. No one wanted this, and they knew that once they put NFTs into the game, that it would have a negative player reaction to Breakpoint, the game they've been trying to build back up, and it's
Mhm.
exactly what happened.
Right.
It got a lot of negative reviews and negative press because of the NFTs when it wasn't their decision at all. And I feel that hurts me because I feel for them, right? Like, can you imagine having this product that
Yeah.
you work to try to get better, and then just have some come along and be like, "Here, this is
Right.
gonna hurt you," but
Right. We've elected for you to be the bearer of bad news. Congratulations on being the messenger.
Yeah. And that's just Ubisoft. Also, our favorite dude, Peter Molyneux, he's at it again, doing
This
his
is so fucking insane. I can't believe it. And
Doing his
people are
Molyneux
doing
thing.
it.
He is creating a game that's going to take place, use the blockchain called Legacy. And I wanted, this is from GameByte, and I actually got this from the Discord, from Blood Reaper. I'm going to describe how the game works that this article goes into, because it's so awful. So, players are encouraged to purchase land NFTs, and upon doing so, you can start your own in-game blockchain business association. As with most blockchain schemes, one day you might be able to get your money back. You can even turn a profit. So what you do is, once you are a business owner, once you have that land NFT, you gain access to legacy keys. These are items that can be lent to other players wanting to start an in-game business. And if you lend it to them and they start a business, you become partners, and you then earn a cut of everything that they sell, which sounds suspiciously like a pyramid scheme.
multi-level marketing scheme. Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. This game is an NFT pyramid scheme. It's a multi-level marketing scheme. Like, the core gameplay is that I'm going to own some land. You turn players into land barons. I'm going to own land, and I'm going to give you some of that land so you can start a business, and then you got to give me a cut. But if you can get other people some of that land, then you get a cut. And
I
it's
hate
so
this.
bad.
I fucking hate NFTs. I just want it to go
and-
away.
And so, of course, someone has already, Legacy, this game by Peter Molyneux, has already raised $53 million by selling NFTs, by selling land NFTs, which just proves how much of a pyramid scheme it is, because people are swooping in, buying all that land, and are then going to, dole it out individually, so that you've got the one big land baron who owns everything and all of the other people working for him. At this point,
one lot sold for $900,000.
yeah. And at this point, if a casual player picks it up, all you're doing, you're not playing a game, you're working for the guy who bought that piece of land before the game came out.
Mm-hmm. Just.
And so one other thing, and it's kind of tangentially related to video games, but the other person jumping on the blockchain, which I did not expect, is Kickstarter.
Really? I didn't know this.
Yeah, Kickstarter is basically saying that they are kind of shifting their whole model to blockchain. The reaction has been really negative because honestly, what does that even mean? Like,
They told everyone
why?
to fuck off.
How do you use the blockchain in like a crowdfunded service? They haven't really given many examples, and that's one of the reasons that the reaction has been so negative. Although, last I heard, as of yesterday, they've doubled down and they're just going to continue doing it, even though they put out an FAQ explaining things, and everything in that FAQ, like most things with blockchain and NFTs related, you read it and you go, why do you need NFTs for this? How does the blockchain help do X? And the explanation they give doesn't actually answer that question. And so at no point does it feel like there's any reasonable reason to make this switch other than, attracting tech bros.
It's honestly a little disappointing because again, they were basically like, yes, we hear your response and we don't care.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
And I here's the problem, especially with Kickstarter doing it, is that one of the things that makes Kickstarter work is that I know that my information being in their system, my personal financial information being in their system is protected and safe. That I am giving money, real money, not cryptocurrency, my real money to someone that I believe in, that I am helping to support their vision for a product. When they start talking about NFTs, something that we all know is a fucking scam that is open, like an open door to nefarious people who will fucking steal your money or your whatever, your Bitcoin or however, these unscrupulous people. It does not make me trust them with having my credit card. It's like if you can't see the problem of putting your toe into the waters of this completely corrupt system, then I don't know that I would trust you to transact my money properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be kind of conveying to me a sense of safety and security because I am taking my money and giving it to someone else through you. I'm not going to put you in the center of, I'm not going to deal with you because I don't trust you, because you clearly don't have a good sense of being a reputable company if you're getting involved with NFTs.
Yeah. And that's one of the things this article on Kotaku mentions is that people that have ongoing campaigns on Kickstarter now are kind of blindsided by this. And are now like, oh, well, shit, we still need the campaign. We can't stop. But also this kind of hurts the chances of completing the campaign.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna put any money through anything. Now that I am learning this, I am going into Kickstarter and making sure they have no information of mine that could hurt me when they're compromised.
Yeah, NFTs, a solution to a problem nobody has.
Nobody has. It is a scam.
And no one wants it. Like the only people who want this are people up high who think, man, everyone's making millions of dollars off of this.
It's the kind of thing that you look at and you go, some people just have too much money. If you can spend $900,000 on a plot of virtual land, you could spend that on a plot of real land. That's a lot of money.
You can get like a few feet in San Francisco of land.
Exactly.
Like,
You can get a phone booth in San Francisco. Who doesn't want a phone booth in San Francisco?
Actually, for $900,000, you could get a pretty nice house. A really nice condo,
a nice
but not in
studio
San
apartment.
Francisco. Yeah. Oh, you could definitely get a studio apartment. Maybe in San Francisco. Maybe a studio. You could get a studio apartment in San Francisco.
For $900,000.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
I hate NFTs so fucking much.
Yeah.
I went to go look.
We're all Rome collapsed for a reason. And every time I think about these things, it just makes me realize that maybe COVID isn't a totally a bad thing. I'm kind of rooting for Omicron in a little bit of a way.
We just need to eat rich people.
Just rich people who think that they don't need a vaccine. I think that's right there a really good place to start.
I don't know if I want to eat non-vaccinated rich people. That just sounds like a bad idea.
All right. Anyway, next item.
Let's talk about Final Fantasy and it doing so well.
The
Some
other
good news.
opposite of the spectrum of a company that actually does take your money on a regular basis, and everybody is happy to do it and feels good about it.
So Endwalker just dropped, which is the most recent expansion of Final Fantasy, and it wraps up the major plot line that's been going on for the last decade of the game. It actually ends that story, and it is selling so much that they actually had to suspend sales. And they're slowly rolling that out because it's kind of a really hard thing to do, apparently.
Yeah.
And they've even suspended advertisements for the game.
Because I've heard that in the past several weeks, there have been substantial queues in the servers. And before this, they even implemented a priority system where people that have had the game before would get priority over new players coming in order to get into the game itself.
Mhm.
So that's not exactly how it works. It's if you have a paying copy of the game, if you are paying for a subscription, you get in first. So if you're new and you're paying for subscription, you still get that priority queuing. But
Okay.
You can pick up the game for free up to level 60 in the first expansion.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that people playing that trial get put on the back burner.
Okay.
And they've stopped the ability for people to make new accounts. You can no longer create new accounts. It is a clusterfuck. But it's a matter of them being so successful, and that kind of makes me happy.
It's crazy to think that this MMO is it about a decade old at this point?
Kind of.
That this almost decade-old MMO is suddenly so popular that they've had to stop selling copies of it.
Yeah. It's amazing too because you consider how this game started. I don't know if you guys remember Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah.
Oh
It's
god.
infamous.
Played it so many times.
No, not the one you played, Edie. So Final
The-
Fantasy: A
when the
Realm
game first
Reborn
came
is
out.
essentially Final Fantasy 14-2. When the
Oh,
game
right.
first,
Okay.
it first dropped, it was garbage. So much
Mhm.
garbage that the company almost went bankrupt. Square Enix almost lost their ass on Final Fantasy. Among other bad decisions they've been making lately. But
Ironically, not the first time Final Fantasy almost bankrupted them.
they put substantial resources and effort into remaking the game. Not just like overhauling it, but they from the ground up they remade the game, and now we're at a point where they have so much congestion they can't keep selling the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a comeback story. I like
That is very much a comeback story.
Wait, there's a scythe wielder now? Okay, I have to play Final Fantasy. What class is that?
I don't know.
Oh, it might be. Oh, it's probably Dark Knight. That's my guess. Anyways, yes. Good stuff.
Yep.
I think that's amazing. Like, apparently also, like I said, walking back selling a game is apparently pretty hard because you have to contact all of the retailers that you have and get them to pull back. You've already put outs into the wild that you have to like go back and reclaim. It's pretty cool. I
Blood
do.
Reaper says you just want to be the Grim Reaper.
Scythes are one of my favorite weapons. Fun stuff.
And he points out that Hoglaw has a video on this.
So I guess in other Square Enix news, one of the things is that they announced a release date for Forspoken, which is like I think Forspoken uses Unreal Engine 5, and it's the game that they've kind of shown off at a bunch of press events like the Game Awards, E3, and it's coming out May 24th, 2022, which is like not that far away. But what also was announced and what has people less positive is that when it comes out, it will be $70 on PC. And so that will be the first time that $70 price tag has kind of been breached on PC. We know that Xbox has said, yes, things are going to... Oh, I don't think it's 79. It would be 69.
Oh, sorry. I was mistype on my part.
Like Microsoft has said, no, all games will still be $60, but Sony has said all of our first party games will be $70. And you've seen a couple other publishers do this. I think Take-Two is charging $70 on PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time, I think, Forspoken and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade will also be $70.
Oh God!
When it comes out on PC. So we've talked before about, this upper increase in price, and I don't have the negative reaction to it that other people obviously do. I think it's fair, especially for these super big budget games, especially after seeing Unreal Engine 5 and realizing, that takes a lot of art assets and work to create something that looks like that. Couple that with the fact that $60 has been the default for a long time. It feels like this is just a natural thing, and sales are still a thing. Steam sales are still a thing.
Yeah. Honestly, now that we are broaching that $70 mark for games, it has been $59 for a really, really, really long time. And things are more expensive now, way more expensive. And here's my one concern is that I have no problem with them making games more expensive, especially now, especially considering things are more expensive to make. I have a problem with them charging $70 for a game and then turning around and adding it, microtransactions to it, which they will.
Maybe like Final Fantasy doesn't have any microtransactions.
But they're the first
DLC.
ones. Eventually, it will be $70 and microtransactions.
Like a lot of the Sony first party stuff doesn't
There
have
won't be no,
microtransactions.
Edie. There'll just be NFTs.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
But yes, there will still be microtransactions, and I think that's one of the things that people were really angry about the NBA Take-Two game, is that it was $70 and still stuffed to the brim with microtransactions. And that's it's an ongoing thing. That stuff's not going to change. But for games like it seems Forspoken is, a single player RPG that for all intents and purposes doesn't seem like the type of thing that would be stuffed with microtransactions, NFTs, maybe some DLC. $70 feels like a perfectly appropriate price tag.
I want to play this game. I cannot describe how amazing this is looking to me.
It is. It does look good.
Cool. I'm psyched for it.
I want somebody to do a really big deep dive of the economics of game making, and I would love to see, like, based off of inflation, how much it's costing to make games nowadays.
I know, like, I keep saying decade. Maybe it is a decade. When Gears of War first came out, some site did a breakdown of when you spend $60 on Gears of War, where does each dollar go? And they did a breakdown of that. But again, that was like a decade ago. So I don't think that's accurate still today.
Also, like you have to when you're considering, because companies give out, oh, it cost 400 million to make Destiny 2. Well, it probably cost them like 100 million and then 300 million in marketing. Like that Hollywood budget number, I don't want to know how much it costs you in marketing, because that's some bullshit if you push the marketing cost onto the end user, the consumer. Like, in my opinion doesn't matter. I'm not a head of a corporation, so fuck me. But if you're spending more and more on marketing than you are on development of your game, that's on you. Like, make a better game so that you don't have to sell it in ads rather than people playing your game and like, actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical that the $70 is warranted. Like, I mean, ultimately I'll pay this because this game looks great. It's $10 more. I typically don't buy release titles anymore. I wait till it goes on sale.
Yeah, that's also the thing, is that I bought a couple games when the PS5 first came out. I paid $70 for Demon Souls, and I'm fine with that. But I waited for Returnal to go on sale because I wasn't sure that was worth $70, and I loved it. But yeah, sales are still a thing. You can still wait and get a game cheaper.
And they go on sale fairly quickly. I mean, especially when the big titles that release at the end of the year, inevitably they're going to have a sale, either on Black Friday or Boxing Day or some kind of sale at the end of the year. Like they release in November for full price, and then a month later there's a 10 or 20% off.
Yeah. Like I got Deathloop. I haven't played it yet. Over a Black Friday sale or like a Christmas sale for $30. Like 30, half off. And that game didn't come out that long ago. That was this year.
Yeah. So, all right. There's that article that you were mentioning from December 2006.
Damn, AC Wraith. Just
he's good.
Everything.
I know.
Really, really good.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical that like the industry needs the $70, only because I feel like they have more tools nowadays than they've ever had to like reduce costs. They're not making physical games nearly as much, which was a huge part of the cost of a $60 game. It's all digital. You're dealing with microtransactions and all of that. Like, I'm skeptical $70 isn't just, hey, we think we can get away with it.
Well, yeah, I think there is an element of, we think we can get away with it now. No question.
But also, like I said,
because they have to future-proof themselves.
It's inevitable, and also any single player game feels like it immediately justifies a higher price than a multiplayer game.
Tell you what, if the gaming industry unionizes, I will happily pay $70 a game. Then I know that more of it is going to the developers than the publishers.
Good point.
True.
And it's not going to developers that are, playing grabby hands with, their people. All right. So, AC Ray says the article is from Forbes, but that forum post pretty much sums it up better. So, next item.
I mean, I think Andrew had a really good segue.
I did?
Yeah. You talked about unions.
Oh, I don't have the next story.
Oh. Well, Activision Blizzard workers are starting to unionize.
Well, let's. I really should get a bumper for this week's in the Activision shit show, because that it really does need its own little like segment. But yes, that's this week in the Activision Blizzard shit show. All right.
So starting from the beginning, basically several weeks ago, a lot of contractors at Raven Software were let go. Their contracts weren't renewed, which basically means they were let go. Raven Software does a lot of is basically the developer of Call of Duty Warzone. And
And
so
they-
the developers have said, "Oh man, we need those people. Like we need those Q&A people to help keep this ongoing live service game live." So a lot of the employees for Raven were upset about that and walked out. And
Well, the reason why they walked out is because Activision had told all of these QA workers, we're going to get you raises. We're going to make you full-time employees. We're going to get you a raise. We are working on getting you all sorted out. It's going to be awesome. And then they get a notification. And in fact, many of those contract employees had contacted them and said, really, you're going to hire us full time because we'll move to, I think it's Wisconsin. We'll move to Wisconsin. So people sold their houses, moved out of their apartments, spent thousands of dollars moving to Wisconsin because they were told unequivocally that they would be getting raises and working full time, and it was all going to be awesome and it's going to be great for you. And then less than a month after many of those people moved to Wisconsin for this job, they were all let go. That's why they walked. And the head of Raven Software was just gutted. He went onto Twitter and was like, there's no words for how not right this is of what they did to those employees. It's one thing to fire them. It is another thing to tell them all, you're all going to be hired and you're going to get raises, and then to fire them after they've all moved. So yeah, that's why that happened.
Pitchforks, everyone? Like, do we charge on the Activision Blizzard studio? Like,
well, not yet. What you can do if you want to help is to contribute to the GoFundMe page. No, not a Kickstarter.
you're not going to the blockchain for GoFunding.
Yes. So has all these employees walked out? Obviously, they're not getting paid. So one of the employees, Jessica Gonzalez, who I know has been involved in a lot of the A Better ABK stuff, she created this GoFundMe to help pay the wages of specifically. At first, when this started, it was a little unclear where the money was going towards, but she has since clarified this is going specifically to pay to the Raven employees who walked off.
Mm-hmm.
And it took off really well. The goal is $1 million. In the first couple days, it got about a quarter of that. And as of now, it sits at just about $340,000. And in addition to that, employees have started passing around unionization cards. So like the push to unionize the workers is like, that's the first official step. It's no longer just talking and threats, but an actual process has begun. And after that happened, I forget who, but one of the heads, one of the higher ups sent out an email that was basically like, no, please don't do this. We can change the culture without a union. This is entirely unnecessary.
Yeah, it was this, what was it? The wording that they used, and it was, I'm trying to find the notification from it. It was Brian Bulatow, who previously worked for the Trump administration, who is now part of ABK, sent out this email to employees using these rather veiled language. It's language that if you have ever tried to unionize, it is a veiled threat, to say the least. Stand by. I want to reload that. Stand by. I am trying to get it on there, and I'm doing a terrible job.
He used the language of oh, if you're part of a union, then you can't fight for you can't represent
You can't
yourself.
represent yourself. What was it? That you need to consider the implications of your decisions. Let's see, what was it? The leadership doesn't. It supports your right to get into a union. As you make this decision for your future, we only ask you take time to consider the consequences of your signature on the binding legal document presented to you by CWA. Once you sign that document, you will have signed over to CWA the exclusive right, quote, to represent you for the purposes of collective bargaining concerning all terms and conditions of employment. Yes, that's exactly what they want to do. That is because they have gone to Activision and tried to represent themselves, and Activision have told them to fuck off or ignored them. That is why you need collective bargaining, because then that way the union speaks for everybody and not just that one person who's trying to not deal with a grabby-handed supervisor.
And also, I think there's the card that they've signed. I don't think it is a binding legal document.
No, but it is saying that
No.
like, it's basically
Like,
you've
Yes, it's saying you want to, but like
It's
saying
not a
it's a binding legal document, there's a certain implication in that of like, oh, this is a big thing, but it's not that. So again, he's using this hyperbolic language to try to scare you into not signing it.
Yeah.
this has vibes of, hey baby, don't leave. I promise I won't hit you again.
Right. Right. I'm sorry. Here's some roses.
I mean,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you care about games, if you care about the industry, if you care about the people who are making these games, please support the ABK Strike Fund by going to this address. Give them a few bucks. That's all it takes. I've thrown money behind it. I'll probably throw a little bit of my next paycheck behind it because what's going on there is wrong. And on top of that, this is something that will be felt throughout the industry, because once that first major studio goes union, then it is going to put the fear of God into places like Ubisoft. And we're not even talking about the Bungie thing, but there's a whole new revelations about what's going on at Bungie, despite what they've promised about being their employees being abused by the 100-hour-a-week crunches that are now expected. It will end all of that.
Part of the problem with whenever someone strikes and why striking is so hard in our country is we don't have a lot of protections for people who aren't working. So if you voluntarily to go on strike, it's not like you can get unemployment or like have any assistance. So it's basically you go on strike and you might starve. And that's your option when you do something like this. And if you go on strike, if you don't succeed, you're kind of screwed in that industry. Like anyone who does this, and if it doesn't work out for them, is going to have a really hard time finding another job in this industry that's not going to be crap.
Mhm.
Just because they'll have this as a mark on their record of any employer, like, oh, it's one of these people.
Right.
Like,
and actually that's not entirely true. Most unions do have a strike fund. That is one of the benefits of having you paying into your union. It's one of the things that your union dues go into, is having this fund of money that if your company needs to go on strike, if your workers need to go on strike, that the union will help support you while you are on strike. That being said, when you are going on strike without a union, then you really do have nothing else but something like a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's getting that union in so that you do have the protections that if your collective bargaining fails and you go on strike, the union's got your back and they will help you along. Kevin's industry went on strike a couple of times while we were there. And they absolutely helped. Not only in getting a good contract, and so that everybody wasn't negotiating an individual contract every single, couple of years for themselves. But on top of that, that we were able to get some support to get us through, to get us over the hump, to make it those few months that we needed to be on strike. Hoglaw has a video on this too. Hoglaw has a video on everything. Blood Reaper. I think it's an understood. If it has anything to do with any kind of law, Hoglaw has a video on it, and a really good one. Hoglaw is fantastic. And Blood Reaper points out that
I was just linking the other Hoagslaw on.
Bungie should have kept their mouth shut. Yeah, but Bungie made it worse by saying that we're a different Bungie and we're doing so much, and then of course somebody's like, "Oh, really? No, you aren't."
What did Bungie say?
Bungie had said previously that they were creating a diversity, inclusion and diversity direct department, and they were doing all of these things to make it a kinder, gentler Bungie, and it turns out, they might have created this department and that things are better there, but they're by no means good. They're still the crunch is real at Bungie, and that lower paid women who tend to be lower paid are treated, even though they are not administrative assistants, are being treated like secretaries by some of the managing supervisors, that they're like, go make me coffee. Mindset of like, hey, can you go look this up for me? It's like, you have hands, and A, and B, I'm not your assistant. You can go look this up yourself. But no, but because they were the women and because they were below that supervisor, I guess I want to call it, think it's the narrative department. The people that are work on the stories in particular are pretty horribly abused.
Really?
Yeah, there was an article out of IGN, I think it was. IGN did an investigative piece into that. That came out, I want to say 2 or 3 days ago, and I didn't get all the way through it, but it's in the grand scheme of like all the horrible stories that we've heard about Riot, about Ubisoft, about Activision. This is pretty anemic by those standards, but that's like saying, it's involuntary manslaughter, not first degree murder.
And crunch is still one of the reasons that people talk about unionizing, is even beyond all the harassment stuff. Crunch is really, really bad in a lot of developers.
If you want to see a really good video, very short video, I've been watching Jimquisition fairly regularly. And Jimquisition, no, Jimquisition is very much an extreme. He isn't wrong about everything, but he is also very, very outspoken about it. But there is a really good thing he did this week that I wasn't aware of, about the company DigiPen, who is a company that trains people in making games, and how DigiPen very much indoctrinates students of the video game, people trying to get into the video game industry through their school, indoctrinates them with crunch mentality so that it is more acceptable when you go into the industry, that they actually crunch their students intentionally so that they can get used to it.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my bad. They actually, James Stephanie Sterling is a they, and I apologize, James Stephanie.
Speaking of crunches, back when we were talking about the NFT, I forgot to mention this, but this is a very real worry for the people who work at Ubisoft, is that they already deal with crunches on the regular, and they deal with they deal with crunches, and they deal with like cutting content and like really budgeting their time on what they can add to a game. And they're significantly worried that if they try to force in NFTs in the back, like bone for the NFT stuff, that it will make the game worse. That you will lose extra content. The crunch will be harder because they'll be shoving this whole new side mechanic into the game that has no real bearing on the game outside of like the money it'll make Ubisoft.
Right.
And that is also another problem with NFTs. Fuck NFTs.
Yeah, my favorite argument from them was, and these NFTs are environmentally friendly because we're using a blockchain that is the most environmentally friendly. Again, it's like the difference between involuntary manslaughter and first-degree murder. It's not environmentally friendly. It's more environmentally friendly than some other blockchain systems, but it ain't good. It's just not as bad. So anyway, we're going backwards. So yeah, support the strike fund for ABK so that they can get a union because they desperately need one. Next one.
We can shift to. Oh, okay. I guess speaking of Ubisoft, they had announced that they're working on a remake of the original Splinter Cell, and so this people have been asking what they're doing with that franchise for several years.
Also because they keep implementing like Sam Fisher into the Ghost Recon game.
Yeah, he keeps cameoing in other things, and
He keeps showing up.
It's
they
not.
They know we love him.
Yeah, and so the word remake I think is important because it's being rebuilt from the ground up, which, like other game remakes, means that it's not going to be the same game. It will probably have some sort of modern mechanics, so it's not just that game with a HD shine on it. It is like a whole new game. And it basically is like, hey, let's start from the beginning again with Splinter Cell because we don't know what else to do with that franchise, which fair enough. There aren't a lot of big budget stealth games anymore. So this at least seems like I am happy because this is Ubisoft not making an open world game, which it feels like 90% of what they do is that. The developers, the people making this are the developers of Far Cry 6. And I think they specifically said a lot of what we've made is open world stuff. So we're looking forward to the linearity of Splinter Cell.
Maybe they can get a new love for it again and make some other games that are linear.
Yeah.
Is linearity a word?
So this
linear?
is just announced.
No, linearity.
This is just announced being worked on, so I'm going to make a bet. It'll be open world by the end of development.
With NFTs.
That would be disappointing.
I'm glad if they're gonna do it that they're gonna do it from the ground up instead of porting over something like a mobile game. Rockstar.
Yes.
Next item.
I guess let's.
Shh.
Oh wow!
You can hear the purring.
You can. She's like a lawnmower.
So, next item.
Let's get into the fun items. The Game Awards happened last week, and we didn't have a chance to talk about all the winners, but yeah, they announced. So, what do you want to start with? Let's start from the bottom. The best multiplayer game was It Takes Two.
Good.
That's the co-op platformer game.
It wasn't Warzone.
Warzone was not nominated. The other ones were Back 4 Blood, Knockout City, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, and Valheim.
That's a pretty solid group, but yeah, It Takes Two definitely should win.
Yeah.
Dude, have you guys played It Takes Two?
I haven't played it. No,
I have not.
You two need to play it and stream it.
All right, we'll do that.
It is worth the money. I've played through it. You will like it. It'll be fun.
Cool.
Does it end with Nick having to kill me at the very end?
Oh, that's right.
No, do you want spoilers?
No.
Okay.
No.
It does end with a K word.
With a K word? What? That's the weirdest kind of
Don't-
tease.
Don't want to. Don't want to know.
I guess
Yeah, the last
Sure.
time the Nick and I played a co-op game like that
from that
Definitely
same
did
don't
not
developer.
go well for the Edie.
That's the same developer too.
I know. That's what has me scared. All right, so that was the best multiplayer. Next.
Yeah. Best strategy game is Age of Empires 4. Sure, that's not my genre. Best sports/racing was Forza Horizon 5, the one that just came out. Best family game is also It Takes Two.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it hadn't won
I
that.
don't like that. Okay, so I mentioned last time when I was playing It Takes Two, it has really weird tonal shifts. And I've already spoiled this before, but you kind of slowly torture a very innocent princess
That's
elephant.
right. I remember you
doll.
telling us about that.
It's very terrible. And then you dance under your daughter's tears. And
That's
it doesn't feel like
a family game.
Everyone can really get behind that message.
Oh yeah, what family doesn't like dancing in the tears of their child?
Which is really funny. I mean, if you look at the field that they were competing against, the ones they beat: Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, and WarioWare.
Mm-hmm.
All of it was Nintendo.
Also, your slightly problematic love guru throughout the entire game. Seriously, you guys just need to play this game.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so skipping around to more of the categories we care about.
Mhm.
Best RPG was Tales of Arise, the
Ooh.
latest game in the Tales series, which
own that one.
I thought would be odd, except when you look at the other categories with it, or the other nominees with it. I guess there weren't a lot of good RPGs this year.
No, Cyberpunk 2077 was nominated. That
Yeah,
should
that
tell you
says a lot.
something.
What do you mean? Apparently, that game's really good now.
I know. I've heard. Whatever.
Best action adventure game was Metroid Dread, which beat out Psychonauts 2 and Resident Evil Village. Best action game, which I am very happy of, is Returnal, which beat out Back for Blood, Chivalry, Deathloop, and Far Cry. So
I'm
I'm
really
glad
impressed
that-
that Chivalry was nominated.
I'm
That's
glad it
kinda
got
cool.
something.
Honestly,
let's
watching
see.
the tech breakdown of the game is pretty impressive. That game's kind of cool.
Cat stop of what? Chivalry?
No, Returnal.
Oh yes, that's right. You showed me that. It was really cool. Best ongoing game, which seems appropriate given our past discussion, is Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah,
It should have been
Clearly.
all the awards for anything like that.
most games don't have to buy more server space 10 years out from their game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then let's jump into some of the final ones. Best narrative was Guardians of the Galaxy, of all things.
I hear it's fantastic.
I've heard good things about
legitimately
it too.
amazing.
And the best game of the year,
And it beat out
was-
It Takes Two as well. It's
Yeah,
one of the few categories that It Takes Two didn't win.
Yeah, because It Takes Two also won best game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It did?
Although they didn't.
Yes, it did.
It did.
Oh.
An indie game won Game of the Year against Deathloop, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village.
I mean, it's not the first time an indie game won the Game Awards.
no,
It's
but
happened a
it's
few times.
fewer and farther between than you'd like.
Yeah,
What makes an indie studio?
I guess just
Is it just not having
It's-
triple?
it's a weird question. You know, like what makes an indie movie? It's a small studio, but they've kind of published through EA, so like they get the benefits of that big publisher behind them, but they're not EA.
Mm-hmm. They're not owned by EA. And It Takes Two actually did not win Best Game Direction. They actually lost that.
That
Deathloop got
was
that.
yeah. Which Deathloop has some cool direction to it. I'll say.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, It Takes Two was a really good game. I don't know if I'd call it like Game of the Year, but that just might be because this year has been kind of lackluster in general. I haven't really seen a lot of crazy games come out this year. Like
Well,
next year we have Dying Light 2, we have the one with Aloy, who I can't Horizon Zero
Horizon,
Dawn.
Yeah,
yeah.
Horizon.
Um,
I mean, a lot of stuff that was supposed to come out this year was delayed because of COVID.
If ever there was going to be a year there was going to be an independent game winning, it was going to be this year, because the AAA games from AAA studios that came out, most of them were delayed because of COVID, and the ones that did come out were not good because of
I mean,
COVID.
like I said, indie games have won the Game Awards before. It's not that shocking of a thing.
It's not that shocking, but at the same time, this was a unique year for really bad AAA games that we had a lot of hype behind them. Things like
Hades
Cyberpunk.
won last year, right?
Hmm?
Hades won last year,
Hades won last year.
which is
Did it?
technically, I would say that's as much of an indie studio as the Take-Two studio.
Right, but
Not
also
Take-Two, but
last year was affected by COVID as well. Not as affected as
Hey.
this year, but last year it was affected.
Hades is amazing and deserved it under any year.
Yes,
Eh.
yes. What do you mean? Can we move to the next item?
Yes, we can.
Hades wins the
speaking-
first Hugo Award for video games. The first video.
So maybe saying first is a misnomer, because apparently this was a one-time thing with no guarantee that it would be an ongoing award. So for 2022, there may not be a Hugo Awards for video games in 2022. I don't know why they decided this year, but they did. And Hades won for best game.
Someone was just like, God, the writing is so good in this
Which-
game, and I
cool,
have to
'cause
put it, put it in the reward
And
awards.
if you're not aware what the Hugo Awards are, the Hugo Awards are a very, if not the most prestigious science fiction literary award.
That's awesome
Um,
though. That game
And they've
deserves it.
since expanded into other things, like they do give awards for movies and series and comics and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I mean, they gave out their first Hugo in 1953. It's kind of like the Pulitzer for science fiction.
Sci-fi. Yeah.
That's good though. I want Hades to get all the like accolades, and I hope they make another game that's like a different pantheon, or maybe like a 2 to this game. I don't know. Nick,
Returnal was better. Returnal is better.
there you go. I made the podcast better, Edie.
I was gonna say,
Nick.
I thought Edie did that, and I was
Yeah.
like, why are you disconnecting me? You haven't played any of these games. Why do you have a dog in this fight?
I would never do that to you, Nick.
I'm-
Ever.
My trust has been shattered.
I love cutting you off when I can, when it's funny. So
It's awesome. That's great.
Eh, it's fine.
yeah, the closest that they have, that the Hugos have for a category that fits into video games is, I mean,
I think Nick's just salty he hasn't won a Hugo.
yeah, the only
As
way
a
he's looking
writer?
at it, it's how,
Yeah, yeah.
if Nick won a Hugo, Jesus, he would be impossible. He
Actually,
truly.
I do have some things coming out, like last week and this week. I'll mention it at the end of the podcast.
Good. But yeah, like the closest they have is the best fan cast, which was they started that category in 2012. That's as close as you're going to get to even recognizing video games from Hugo. Has a video game ever been given a Hugo Award before?
I don't think
No.
so. But also, correction. Hades did not win the Game Awards last year. It
Oh.
was Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, I thought Hades won some Game of the Year award from different places.
I'm sure it won a bunch. And actually, correction on myself. I guess It Takes Two probably is the first indie game for the Game Awards, because I'm on the Wikipedia page. I guess okay. I think it depends on how you define Game Awards versus Spike TV Video Game Awards, because I guess this current iteration of the Game Awards, hosted by Jeff Keighley, started in 2014. And that year it was Dragon Age Inquisition. Next year it was Witcher 3, Overwatch, Breath of the Wild, God of War, Sekiro, Last of Us, It Takes Two.
Yeah, so this
It Takes Two was the first indie game.
the first indie. Good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the Hades won the Game of the Year award this year and the Developers' Choice Awards.
Okay.
There's like a dozen Game of the Year awards.
There's a whole, like what game qualifies for what award, depending on when it came out.
Yeah.
So, according to Wikipedia, the 2021 Hugo Awards featured a special Hugo Award for video games due to their popularity during the pandemic. Additionally, the Hugo Study Committee is evaluating a proposal for Best Game or Interactive Experience category, which they or others may propose to the 2021 convention.
Which, that's cool, but also, I take a little issue with the nominees and the winner, because Hades is not a sci-fi game, and they also nominated Animal Crossing, which is not a
fantasy,
sci-fi game. Feels a little outside their realm. Basically, they should have given it to Returnal because it's a better game.
Oh,
And fuck Hades.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna
No.
sit with the Hugos. I always sit with the literary
It's a
guys.
fantasy game, like through and through.
True, and Hugo's is sci-fi fantasy, but
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
all about
feel it's stretching.
whatever.
I
And
think that
by the
game's
way,
storytelling
there is your
is
link.
unique and amazing.
Nick DiNicola's writing on Amazon.
Oh yeah, that doesn't include the newest stuff.
All right, due to this hate, this unnecessary and non-deserved hate, I want you to go bomb Nick's page and give him 1-star review.
Wow, wow.
Say this is for Hades, and then just like 1 star.
I don't
really
think-
bad takes.
I don't think you can review authors.
You should. All right, so next item. Moving right along. Chop chop.
Okay, small item. The PS5 has faceplates. Not right now, but they're coming next year.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of them. They're faceplates.
Yeah, dude, look, it's different colors. Like what
yeah,
more
it's
do people
essentially
expect?
they're filling the need because all of these third-party companies have been trying to sell faceplates off the bat, and I think
Yeah.
that Sony was not interested in it. But if they didn't do it themselves, it's kind of hard to stop other people from doing it.
Yeah. And right now they're just basic colors. You've got like red, black, green, all the
Nice for the 10 people who have a
typical colors.
PS5, and 2 of them are here.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking of buying all the faceplates just because I want to
It makes
switch
you
it
look
out.
like you have 5 of them.
Every
Yeah.
week, every day of the week, you have a different color.
Yeah. See, I just have that many PS5s.
Nice.
I'm actually, I'm gonna say this. I'm actually considering selling my PlayStation 5.
Yeah, you've said that
Really?
before. This isn't the first time you've thought about that.
I mean, it's still a lot of money. I can still sell it for a lot of money. And honestly, it just seems kind of wasteful to have both. Considering that Xbox is offering me a better deal.
I mean,
Honestly.
you'll get exclusives with PlayStation. That's why you have PlayStation to begin with. Like,
I don't know
Exclusives
if
are not-
those exclusives are like
God
you
of War
didn't
2.
you didn't like Horizon. She never played God of War the
You
first
liked
one.
Horizon. Didn't
I've
you,
never
Edie?
played it. I
Uh,
played about 10 hours of Horizon and then didn't come back to it.
Yeah, it didn't click with you.
Didn't really click with me. Yeah, I think it's like I'm the only one.
You kind of have to get out of the first area.
I know.
Like that
I
first
think I
huge-
just got out of the first area and it was like, I'd put enough time into it. It was like, I'll come back. Then something else happened and pretty lights and I got distracted. It's just it's like, I could sell it now and then I could wait 2 years and get another one.
Yeah, you could sell it now, make your money back.
And then some.
How much you want to sell it for, Edie?
More than you have to spend.
Wow.
I think
Ouch.
you underestimate me.
Says the guy who I bought your freaking
Hey.
graphics card because you wouldn't spend that much on a graphics card.
Only because the pricing is stupid right now. and that it's not matched well.
Exactly. The pricing on a PlayStation 5 is still very stupid.
Yeah, but it's used. It has Edie germs. It's cooties.
It could be infected with COVID. We don't know.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right. Next item is
Yeah. Tencent bought the Back for Blood developer Turtle Rock, which
Praise
is
be our overloads Tencent.
yeah, which is interesting in that Tencent has just bought a lot of studios, and they've bought 6 in 2021 alone. So
No, they are buying up a lot of gaming real estate, and it's kind of weird because they're getting a lot of pressure from the Chinese government with like what's going on there with gaming.
yeah. Well, and what this
Yep.
suggests is that this is an investment for them that will only pay off outside of China.
Yeah.
Like this is clearly an example of a business going, hey, we're based in China, but we can make more money in the US, so let's put some
Diversifying.
money there. Yeah,
they're diversifying their market because they can
'Cause-
still make money off of
because
it.
China has been really cracking down on video games in a lot of ways.
There is an element that is I am not completely discounting, although there is a bit of tin hat conspiracy involved in this, in that because Tencent is the Chinese government is putting so much pressure on Tencent. Tencent is big enough that the Chinese government has no problem putting its foot down on them to make sure that they are in line. I'm not completely concerned about the fact that,
They're
they
basically
have
just
some
an
of
It
my
just
investment.
means
data.
China's going to be
They have
spying
some
on
of
you
my data.
through Back for Blood. Every time you're voice chat and Back for Blood, China's going to be watching you.
I don't think China's going to be
Gonna be
watching me every
listening.
time, but I mean, there is that element of like, they do have my information. They are, they're owning an awful lot of things that I spend an awful lot of time on. There's a reason why I'm not on TikTok, and it's not because I'm 55. It's the reason
sure about
I
that?
don't
Who'd
want
be
to
on
put my
TikTok?
social stuff on TikTok.
Who'd be on TikTok? That'd be wild. So weird.
And I recognize that there's an element of that tin hat conspiracy, like they're in everything, but then again, it's also China. They're kind of not known for above board practices, especially
Technically,
with
above
companies
board is-
that are under the foot of the Chinese government, and Tencent is very much getting a lot of heat from the Chinese government.
technically above board is set by the place you're at. So technically, China is above board in China.
In China,
Oh.
right. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. So, but Tencent, if you want to buy GameHounds, make an offer. I'm happy to give it to you. I will give you all of it for a price.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know I say this thing, but there's also
Tencent,
this
if you'd
thing.
like me to pay me, I would get a tattoo of Tencent on my forehead.
All right, next item.
Hang on, I've got a cat on me, so I need to move the mic.
Robloxing, abusing users? No.
Yes.
Wait, stop the presses.
It's Roblox too.
I
There's
know.
an L in there.
Oh, sorry. That's my bad. Thank you.
I can't
So
believe you know how to
this
spell that.
a YouTube channel called People Make Games had done two. Basically, they did kind of an investigation into Roblox and made a video about how it's really taking advantage and manipulating its young user base. And then they made a follow-up video because Roblox kind of said, hey, you should take that down. They didn't actually do a demonetization or anything like that, but there was a request. And so they made another video that dove deeper into Roblox and uncovered even more shit. And a lot of this there's basically 3 steps to it. One is that Roblox sells itself as a community where kids can come in and make a game that then other people come and play, and kids can make some money off of it. Except that now the user base has grown so much that you need teams of people to make a game. And when you need teams of people, that means that it's no longer just a kid, it's a group of people. But that also means if a kid wants to make something in Roblox, they then learn the skills and then go to a third-party website to sell those skills to become part of a group, like a Discord. They go to Discord to be like, hey, and it basically becomes child labor for a lot of these developers making games through Roblox.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know in detail about all of it. But also, and I'm getting this from a summary, there's one of the developers has accused the creator of sending sexually explicit messages, and that creator is still there. There's also a commodity market within Roblox where you can dress up your character in limited time cosmetic stuff that's like $5 to $10, and then sell that commodity for like $15,000, and it essentially works like gambling. So it's basically this whole unregulated gray market for all sorts of untoward financial activity.
So quick tangent. There's a show called Last Week Tonight by John Oliver, and he did a segment about video game brands or brand video games. So like 7-Up and Pepsi and stuff like that making video games. And I forget exactly what one it was. I think it was like Chex or something. And there was an interview back in the day where they were talking about their game, and they're like, so yeah, we hired a 17-year-old to work and develop this game that they made.
Yep.
And his response was, so yeah, if you want excuses, get an adult. If you want results, get a teenager. And Roblox took that and made it their entire business model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah. Very much so.
A little bit of a tangent, but felt appropriate.
Stand by. I just lost my light. Ah. So keep talking.
That's kind of it about Roblox. Seemed from the beginning Roblox was that game that all the games press kind of ignores, that flies under the radar because it's aimed at kids, and generally the games press is for adults to older kids. And so no one really looked into Roblox because it always flew under the radar. But now it's gotten big enough that it's kind of, maybe we should look into what this game is. And it turns out not a lot of it is good.
Roblox got huge on the down low.
Yes,
Like-
it really did. It really did. Like Fortnite big.
Well, I recently saw, like, and most people are used to seeing Roblox having like really crappy graphics, very blocky, kind of where it gets its name.
Mhm.
But like some of the stuff that's been coming out is actually pretty detailed and quite sophisticated. Like,
Yeah, when
it is
you've got-
developing
When
space.
you've got teams, a whole development team, and you're not just a kid, you can do stuff like that.
when you have young teen energy and obsession, you get a lot done.
Yeah.
Yep. And somebody else feeding you, and you don't have to worry about, rent.
When you have the passage of
Yeah.
a teenager, but the naivety to be exploited, you are perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And then the last thing I have to say that I think I mentioned before the show that I just thought was interesting is Battlefield 2042. One of the big complaints about it was the size of the maps. right? They're too big. It's too hard to get into fights. A lot of snipers, makes vehicles more important. The balance between vehicles and infantry is off kilter because of it. Maps are too big. For last gen consoles, the player limit is capped at 64, and as such, they have smaller maps. And I've always been curious, like if I were to get the game and play on the PS4 version, would I have a better experience? Well, apparently, someone at DICE thought that same thing because they added modes to the game that were basically those modes. So you could play on the 64 player limited map size on PS5. But it was also only for a limited time. And I think as of now, those modes are no longer available, which feels a little disappointing. I know the game has done that before, but when the complaint is specifically, hey, your maps are too big, and you add in a mode with smaller maps, I feel like maybe you should make that a permanent option instead of limited time.
Right. And then it's almost worse that they came in and, said, oh, for a limited time, we're going to give you what you want. All
Because
right.
now I know
Yoink.
you can do it. They could do it anytime they want. They
Oh
have a
yeah,
switch they
absolutely.
can flip.
Clearly they can. They've got the code. All they have to do is hit a button and it'll come back. But no.
Yeah.
Did you want more? Did you say more? No. We will not allow you to do that. Thank you very much. You shall play it the way we intend, which
They also
is
had a map
Which not a lot of
how you
people
want
like. Yeah. Which no one
Yep.
enjoys.
Let's make it larger.
I've thought
2
about
million players.
re-downloading Battlefield 5
Oh, really?
because I had a really fun time with it.
I'm wondering what is the user base of Battlefield 5 versus Battlefield 2042 right now?
Probably better.
Are more people playing Battlefield 5 than Battlefield 2042? That would
I
be
honestly don't know.
really awful.
I don't know.
That
I don't think we could
be-
figure that out.
Well, you could look on Steam user base. What was it? Steam charts, right?
Yeah.
No, Steam charts I don't think would have that, because I mean it's an EA game, so you'd have to account for Origins, you'd have to account for console.
All right. Well, I mean, we could look just Steam to Steam. All right. So Steam charts, Battlefield.
So in the last
5.
30 days, it's 10,000 players for Battlefield 5.
And right now, there, as of an hour ago, the 24-hour, let's see, playing in the last hour is 23,000.
Basically, they lost over half their player base to 2024. Or, yeah, 2042.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you
so,
said 10,000, so it's twice as many people playing 2042 as there
Well,
are.
if you look
Yeah,
back
so
in October...
the 24-hour peak for Battlefield 5 is 17,000.
Okay, the 24-hour peak for
2042 is 45,000.
45,000. Yeah,
So there's a lot more people playing 2042.
there still is. All right, well, that's good. At least it's not a total embarrassment. But yes,
2042 even had a higher all-time peak. Not by that much, but
It also has a negative review rating on Steam right now.
yes,
What?
I thought that's interesting because
what, 2042 or 5?
2042 has the higher all-time peak, which means that for a brief moment in time, more people are interested in playing 2042 than Battlefield 5.
I can see that. Well, 2042, a lot of us were very excited
It had
about
a lot of hype.
A lot of hype.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2021 was the year of if it's hyped, it will suck.
Yeah.
That the quality of the game was inversely proportional to the
See,
amount of hype.
Battlefield's always been that game that gets really hyped, but always sucks on launch.
I think the 2042, I think, was particularly hyped. I think that a lot more, I shouldn't say hyped. I think there was a lot more excitement for it simply because it seemed to take a departure away from typical Battlefields and say, we are going to embrace this game to be the fun game that you play it as, not the war game that we want it to be. But then they sort of chickened out.
I'll be back.
All right. So I think that they didn't deliver on the promises that were made, and the thing is that the promises were very compelling when it was debuted. Where did we see it debuted? Was it E3?
Maybe.
I think it was E3 where it was like, "Oh, this looks kind of cool. This is about a Battlefield that may actually bring me back to Battlefield." And then it came out and I realized, "Wow, I'm really glad I saved my $70."
Yeah.
So, all right, but Andrew left, but is there anything else that we want to add before we close out the show? Because we are rolling into, coming close to 3 hours.
Only that I had 2 short stories coming out recently. One of them came out on the 12th on a site called horrortree.com. They kind of have weekly presentations of short stories by people. Generally, it's a site that's for, hey, this place is looking for a short story, like a resource you can use to find calls for stories. And on the 12th, they published one of my stories. So
Really?
I put a link to it in the Discord, in the Pimp Yourself Discord, so you can go there to find it easily, and you can read it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 21st, on Wednesday, I'll have another story come out on a site called Daikaijuzine, which is again, I'll provide the link.
Well, how do you spell it?
DAIKAIJUZINE. And so all of a short story.
That is not it, is it? No.
No, that's not it. I don't know what that is.
All right. Actually, let me see if I can find your game. What would it be under?
Go to Trembling with Fear. Read Trembling with Fear. And then scroll down. You should find one for the 12th. Yeah, the 12th. Right there, right there. Scroll up.
Oh, there we go. Our first story in this week's Trembling with Fear in the Straw Maze by Nick DiNicola is a great story which compellingly subverts the idea of a child trying to reach its parents. An original idea full of atmosphere and pace. Excellent piece of writing. Well done, Nick.
Thank you.
Nick might get that Hugo Award soon.
Can I be your date to the Hugos? Can I be your date to the Hugos? Seriously, can I be?
Only if you wear a shirt. Only if you wear a shirt that says "Fuck Hades."
I will totally wear a shirt that says.
On the front it says "Fuck Hades," and on the back it says "Returnal Forever."
All right.
Okay.
I will absolutely get myself an evening dress where I will put "Fuck Hades" in the front and "Returnal Forever."
And I will run that night for you. Like that'll be my goal. I'll be invited, but not to help.
You'll be like one of those PETA protesters, and you're trying to throw paint on Edie to cover up the logo.
And you.
All right. So let's close out this show. We're getting late.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And check that out. There's the web on the article on the page, the thing. Yes, that
like I said,
Trembling with Fear right there. Yeah, just right there. Here we go. See that? Go to that. Go to that. And also, as a reminder, if you are watching this and you haven't yet, please click the thumbs up or the heart or whatever is on your screen that shows approval if you are still here. And if you are you hate this, if you think we could have done something different or you have a better idea of what we can or should be doing, please leave it in the comments of whatever you're using right now. We would love to hear from you. And if you're on YouTube, you can give us a thumbs down. Go right ahead. But it is very helpful for YouTube to see these things because we get listeners, viewers all the time, and nobody actually clicks. And if you don't click, then we don't get pumped out to other people. So please, it's the way that YouTube knows that we do a good job. And I don't think we do a terrible job. And if we do, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much. All right. So let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 622. We recorded this on Sunday, December 19th, 2021. I've been Edie Sellers, and with me has been Nick Nicola and Andrew Smith. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. That's where the audio show goes. You can also watch us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. On Facebook and Twitch, we are The Gamehounds. On YouTube, we are Gamehounds Vids, as in videos, VIDS. Please feel free to join us at that time, and you can be with us live, either watching us or listening to us. If you want to listen to us after the fact, of course, you can go to any of the, if you want to see the audio feed, replayed, or the video feed replayed, go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, of course, you can go to Spreaker and download us there. You can also go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Go to your Alexa or Google device and say, play GameHounds podcast. We are absolutely there and would be there for you. If you listen to a podcast we're not on, please let us know. Send me an email to gamehounds@gmail.com. We'll get it on the platform for you if that's where you want to listen to it. That's what we do. Thank you so much for being with us, Nick. Andrew, again, so awesome to have you, especially you, Andrew. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, fuck Nick.
All right. Have a great week, everybody. Please don't forget to get your mask. And again, if you are not boosted, please go get a booster. Please go get a booster. You are important to us, and we want you around for as long as possible. Have a good week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
I don't know why you're waving. We're not out of the video.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Bye, everybody. I always forget that.
That's just the audio version. All right. Video version is still in. We are live on video. We are out on audio. Anything else you want to convey to our video people?
Andrew's stream looks like a horror movie because it's dark, but I can still see behind you. Edie's is too dark. Yeah, you got to get better lighting. If someone's sneaking up behind you, I can't see it, so I can't be scared.
And Nick is a horror author. He knows how to make it scary.
Right.
It's just funny looking at the two videos. It's like, oh, his looks like a movie dog. Edie's is actual dog.
Oh, come on. It was a dark and stormy night. And there was only thing that was left was a hook. Yeah.
I had pizza just arrived, so I'm gonna go hop off and go eat.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got
nice.
2 dogs that have yet to be walked, and I don't know if you've been hearing them. They have been whining for 2 hours, so they desperately
Now
need to go
pizza
walk.
sounds good. I think you just convinced me to get pizza.
Yeah,
It
you know what?
do
That
be
doesn't
like
sound
that.
bad at all.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go get a pizza delivered. We can all have a
Nice.
pizza party.
All right.
Cool.
Well,
All right.
I am super hungry, so I'll chat with you guys later.
Now your light goes on. You
Yeah.
could have done that the whole time, Andrew. What the
No.
fuck?
The light is only necessary now. Bye.
See you, everyone. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a good week, and get your booster.
Now
See you
we
later.
wave.
Bye.